Okay. One sec, guys. There you go. Can you guys hear me? Teriak, there.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
How's my sound check too?
You guys sound real loud.
Test. 1, 2, testicle.
Okay, you sound good. Tyler?
Hey, penis, testicle, penis.
Yeah, that's okay, but you sound like you're in a room.
Oh,
You have a lot of reverb.
you sound like you're in a room too.
Wait, Jake. Where would he stream from? Like
No,
outside?
it's so okay. So what I mean by room, I'm talking about like you know how you ever played music, reverb, which makes the sound like echoey, like you're in a room. The acoustics,
It's
that's
got
what
a
I'm
nice
talking about.
Acoustics. Yeah.
You-
Are you taking a dump?
It might be in the bathroom.
I just moved to Texas, so I don't have a lot here in my second bedroom yet. So that's probably I can go open the doors and hopefully that'll cut down on the echo.
I forgot you're a Texan now, bro. Congratulations.
Hell
My
yeah.
man.
Yeah, when Teriak, when are you gonna be a Texan, bro?
Listen, I have to come over $5 million, bro, to get that gold card before I can even step foot in the country. So
Awesome.
at the
awesome.
moment, to be honest, I'm negotiating with the Mexicans. Maybe you can help me out, try to get me over the border. You know what I mean? But then I'm kind of, being a hypocrite. So it is what it is.
Yeah, we don't have to tell anybody about that though. Don't worry about it. You know?
Nah, we gotta be legit. We gotta, like I said, we gotta raise the 5 mil, give the American people the 5 mil to show I ain't a freeloader. I ain't no Somali.
There
know what
you
I'm saying?
go.
But I will probably, to be honest, if I was in a position, I would have done the daycare shit. Like, let's be honest. If you had the forms in front of you, Jake, and you had the idea in your head, you would have been like, $1 billion?
Yeah,
$1
well,
billion, Jake.
I don't think I would have made the comparison to like bananas and rice afterwards after I get caught, right? But
Oh, bro.
I get
There's so
you
many
there.
questions about that video. Like first of all, bitch, why are you even speaking? Second of all, why is there a plaster on your fucking eyebrow? You know what I mean? There's so many questions about that.
Yeah, for real, bro. Hold on. What the fuck?
Unbelievable.
Hang tight, gentlemen. I think my Rumble just fucking went out. Hold up. Gotta do this shit all over again, I think. What's the title of this shit? We're just waiting for Flo and Dylan.
Dusty's just got a pile of
Thailand.
drool in his lap that he has to clean up. It forms naturally while he's trying to think.
No shit. No fucking shit, bro.
No, I bust his balls, but I've hung out with him on dozens of panels now. I don't hate him.
He's a little annoying. Or he can be.
He can
But
get
he's
annoying.
alright.
Yeah.
He's alright overall, I guess. Okay.
Did you see the recasting of Helen of Troy?
Helen of Troy.
Yeah, they
No?
picked the chick from the Get Out movie. Well, no, not the Get Out movie. The second movie that he made, the second horror movie. I don't remember what it's called. But she was T'Challa's girlfriend in the Black Panther movies. I don't know her name offhand.
You mean like there was like a whole bunch of black chicks in that movie, bro. Could have been anybody.
Yeah, but she's a very attractive one. They made
she was
her.
attractive?
They made her Helen of Troy, and people are like freaking out about it because Helen of Troy was from the Mediterranean area, and probably not like,
Black.
like super African, deep root African black. Yeah, she might have had some in her, but like that kind of, I don't know. So people are like saying basically it's just Netflix adaptations for everything, and honestly, I understand it now. I understand the violent part of the war. So yeah,
Mhm.
that's why I believe the Ilhan Omar thing when she went for that punch, that inherent violence.
Telling you, man. But you see it as a barman. You see like the amount of fights that escalate, like into actual physical fight. There's typically, more often than not, it's a woman involved, or it's some shit got to do with a woman.
Tell who, Landon? Oh, he sent it. Landon put it in the group chat if you want to see. I don't even know if you look into that shit anymore.
Let me see here. Okay, Dylan just messaged me.
I was
He should be
talking
coming
to him
on.
like half an hour ago, so he's coming.
Oh, okay, cool. Fucking, I haven't gotten a message back from Flo. Hold up.
It's because his neighbor trailer needed to borrow the meth pipe. He'll be here.
Okay, cool. Wherever the fuck he's at, as long as he gets his ass over here.
Yeah, Dusty, put down the meth pipe. Let your neighbor borrow it for the night.
Yeah, well, you can't do it on screen, man.
Yeah.
I think that's TOS. But yeah, I'm thinking 5-minute openers for everybody. Is that good enough time? You don't have to do the whole 5 minutes, but you know.
If I lasted 5 minutes, my wife would love it.
Yeah. So you don't have to take the whole thing, bro, if you don't want to.
That's what I told her too. She's like, I could take the whole thing and some.
No, that's where she said, "Wait, what?"
Teriak, you married yet, bro, or what?
That's option B. If I can't raise the 5 million, it looks like I'm gonna have to marry an American chick. So
okay,
well, any women's that you know that are looking for a wee little leprechaun, like I said, she's got to pay for the first date. That's the latest hot take.
I'll
I'm
let her
trying
know.
to push. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
like I said, it was interesting though because I've been accused of both being a beta bitch with that mentality that like I'm letting her like dominate and all this kind of shit, and then I've also been accused of being like a misogynist that I'm trying to dominate too much on a woman,
By making her
all
pay
this
on the
kind of
first date?
Yeah. So, like I said, it's just like the post that I unlocked the achievement on X, where I got called both a Jew and an anti-Semite on the same
Right.
post. I was like, it's impressive.
That is impressive. Tyler, is that your dog?
Yeah, I got him in the other room and I have the door closed, but they're still loud as fuck.
Yeah. You might have to sick
trick-
him on Dylan, bro.
No.
The trick is just like the mic management. You can get away with a lot of that shit where it's like as soon as you stop talking, you're hitting the mute because typically like because your like your speaking volume is going to be higher anyway, they won't be able to hear it in the back. It'll be very faint compared to, I mean.
I'll leave the mic open when I beat them.
Yeah.
That'll work.
Yeah.
Hold on. But yeah, fucking I don't know, man. Flo might be backing out.
He saw I was.
Why
on the
are you
other
running?
side.
I don't know, dude. He said I'm game. He's good. And then he hasn't messaged me back today, so.
Yeah, he was reviewing a stream I did with Grid, and they were saying how I was wrong, but they weren't actually saying how. And
So
I-
this is a good
well,
opportunity
They never do.
to put his feet to the fire now.
Yeah, well, I
they
think he's
never
gonna
do.
put them in his mouth.
Bro,
Yeah.
like look at the whole fiasco with like the Sarah's thing. Remember, like Flo was the one that was hosting it. But like, notice that they never actually got to any of the claims, and every claim they tried to dress like Andrew's like, no, it's actually like 4,000, 5,000, it's not 2,500, and all this kind of shit. I mean, every single claim, and it's like they never actually get to. They say he's wrong, but they never say. And all it is just a character smear, ad homs, like all this kind of shit, character assassinations, and they never actually make it a contingent point.
That's your job tonight. Get them all stoking the flames, and then I'll come in and sweep on up.
No shit.
There's a reason why this is my logo. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, dude, you got the William Dafoe going on, right? William Dafoe Leprechaun.
That's no, it's Loki.
Yeah, it looks like.
Is it though, dude?
from
He looks
Avengers,
like
yes.
he literally looks like William Dafoe. That's what I thought it was. The
Yes.
Green
No,
Goblin.
Because but it blends all that like that mystique because a lot of like the similar kind of characteristics, kind of like shapes of the face on stuff is the same
Sure.
thing they aim for in those like villain archetypes and all this kind of shit.
Yeah.
Like with like a villain type
How's the
character, you want
volume
like a
of
long,
everything, by the
slender
way? Can you
face,
hear me over
kind of
the
things
music
like
and
that, you know.
shit?
We don't hear your music.
Oh, sorry, I was talking to my stream. My bad.
Oh, okay, my bad.
Yeah, we got 10
yeah,
people
like the-
watching over here, boys. We're doing good.
Nice.
My man. I love the background as well. Ice Baby. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it is badass background, dude. I like that. That's fucking cool, dude. Vanilla Ice. But yeah, this whole time I thought it was William Dafoe, bro. But it's like
No,
Loki.
but like,
We're gonna listen to tonight.
see, like when you look at the Loki character, it's kind of like that's how like the trickster or the like especially when like Jordan Peterson talks about like the trickster
Oh, yes,
archetype
this is
or like when
good.
Right.
Adam Watts talks about the trickster archetype, like that's what the trickster's supposed to be. But when you look at the likes like Green Goblin, all this kind of shit, it's just like, oh, I've got a chip on my shoulder. It's very kind of like shallow, kind of like villainy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas if you look at the depth of Joker, You know what I mean? Although he doesn't have that noble purpose that typically you'd want in the trickster, it still has that depth of like this is literally the like a guy that has taken nihilism to the logical conclusion, and he's saying we're all guilty and all this kind of shit in the same thing. Like, do you know what I mean? So it's like the fact of like Heath Ledger's Joker could convince a Christian that it is Christian to do the whole like anti-nihilism thing and all this kind of shit.
Yeah, I get you. What's
like
up?
how dark it can get.
Yeah, what's up, Dylan? You there?
Yes, I'm here. 1 second. I'm just setting it up on stream. How you guys doing?
Good,
Oh,
good.
chilling, bro.
Awesome.
But what do you call it? What were we talking about before this? We're talking
The
about
Jews?
the villain, the
Just the villain
Jews.
archetype, the tricksters against
Oh,
the Jews.
that's what I was gonna ask. Like they did make Loki into a binary or something like that. So are you now binary, Teriak?
Hey, what you mean a binary?
I don't know what that is, but I think they turned him into like non-binary in the Marvel universe.
Oh, the Marvel comics, bro.
Remember?
They completely bastardized it. Like that's why I say like they ruined like the Loki in Norse mythology versus the Loki that was in the movies at least.
Yeah.
Is a complete bastardization.
Yeah,
Is it
low
complete
key,
like
they
the
ruined
fact that
Loki.
the mere fact that Thor is the one that brings Ragnarok is a complete blasphemy. That like
Oh,
it's
yeah,
supposed
yeah,
to be
yeah.
Loki and all this kind of shit. You know what I
supposed
mean?
to be-
Like that's complete bastardization and all this shit. But what they're doing with the TV show and with the potential with the next coming movies, be very interesting to see what way Marvel plays that, because like I said, Loki's if you look at like what the Loki's the TV show, like He Who Remains, if you know what He Who Remains is or what that means and why Loki was the one that stepped onto that quote unquote throne, then you kind of like understand exactly where Marvel's going with, and not only Marvel but the implications in terms of who funds Marvel, the whole like what is Hollywood when you look at it, etc., like in terms of like geopolitics and all this kind of shit.
I think the Loki from the TV show is now the Loki from like the original Avengers movie, right? It's not
No.
the Loki that we knew that got killed in I think Avengers Endgame or whatever it was.
So the
Yeah,
lore of
with
that
all the
is-
variant shit and all the stuff, it's like the Rick and Morty. It's like, is it actually Rick and Morty and all this kind of shit? But yeah, like technically, this is a different Loki that we're following.
Yeah, it's an
Can I
alternate
ask a
timeline.
production question?
Yeah, what's up, girl?
I see that our faces are like on it twice. I see there's also like what looks like a phone dimensions. Are we also like streaming on like TikTok or something?
Oh yeah, okay, yeah. So YouTube,
YouTube, yeah.
you can hide it by the way on your side. There's a hide button there.
Is
But
there?
yeah,
I
it's
didn't
it's
know.
a it's a vertical one that YouTube is doing, so we're gonna stream it vertical as well as horizontal.
Got you. Okay.
Yeah, and that's for like people that are scrolling through and shit like that. You know, people
Doom
like to
scrolling,
watch.
got you.
Yeah, doom scrolling.
Where's the hide button?
It's like it should be on the left, bro. Right next to.
I do not see that.
You don't have a hide button? Hold on.
All I have is a full screen. Yeah.
You got okay. You guys don't have a hide button. Okay.
Yeah, I don't think it's optional for us, but it is optional for you.
It's option. Okay, my bad, guys. But if you make it big, it should go away, and so the audience.
We're
your
stars.
audi-
We'll be big.
Yeah, just FYI. So I think that's why. That's why y'all. I thought maybe you guys had the option to hide it.
I do have the option to hide it, but I gotta tuck it back into second gear. That's it.
There you go. Do it like when you're wearing your bikinis. You got to tuck it.
Fecal is Einhorn. Yeah.
Hey Dylan, bro, I'm messaging your debate partner, Flow State or Dusty Powder Dusty.
Sure. Yeah.
And he hasn't gone back to me, bro. I don't know where the fuck he's at. Been messaging him. So I don't know if he's backing down.
I'm fine by myself.
Are you good with a 1v? Yeah, with a 1v2. If
Yeah,
he
that's
doesn't-
perfectly fine to me. I mean, like I assume like Tyler and Tarek aren't the same person. They'll have a different perspective on it, even if they're on the same side. And I'll have my own perspective. So it is what it is.
Okay, all right.
I asked
So
Soy Pill if he's busy. He can probably jump in if he's not.
if you have a different partner in mind, for it, because he's
Yeah.
already 11 minutes late. So.
You can put like, do you want to push the start time back like 20 minutes to see if we can get like someone else like to make it 2v2, because it's like 1v2 is a bit kind of
Yeah,
not really good
I
for the
know.
audience if you get me.
I know what you mean.
I
I
can wait
could-
20 minutes, but could we have like a mini conversation about something else then, as we wait for something else to come, so we're not just like kind of talking about Marvel lore or?
Yeah. No, let's do that, man. I'm gonna try to message.
100%.
I guess I could see if Ferb. Originally, I was gonna get Ferb on here, I'll message him if you're down with that. I'll hit him up, see if he's. I was messaging him the other day, so.
Whoever you mean, I don't know who Ferb is, but you know, I love Phineas, so I love them both together. So I'll take either or.
I hit up a couple people in my Discord as well, Castle and Com and Soy.
Well, let me hit you with this because this is the spicy take I'll be going with recently. Women should pay on the first date. What do you think, gentlemen?
I mean, I wouldn't. I don't necessarily do that.
I haven't been on a date in a while. I'm married, but I would say no. No, I think that it's not good.
All right, but you're both, like, let's say you'd aim for traditional women, correct?
Generally, I mean, to marry, not to fornicate with. No, I look for loose women if I'm trying to smash.
Yeah, but if the goal was, let's say, marriage, like the noble goal of like the nuclear family, it's like that's the linchpin of society, all this kind of stuff. You'd want like a traditional woman, but the modern day gal ain't really traditional. Like, that's not like the overrepresentation. You know what I mean? So in terms of traditional treatment, the chivalry and all this kind of stuff of like the man paying, you know, opening the door, the red carpet, all this kind of shit. Why are you proving yourself when it's like men are not really in question? You know what I mean? It's the women. Like, think about it as an interview. Like when you're going as an interviewee, you know what I'm saying? Like you're the one that needs to impress. But if you're the interviewer, you don't really need to impress.
But don't
They've
you
already
both
come to
have
the
that
interview.
role? You're both an interviewer and you're both an interviewee.
Yeah, this is the thing. Like, oh, like why don't we do the half and half? But that's the feminist thing.
Well, that's how I do. I've always done the half and half. Like I pay for one date, they pay for the next date. Flip flop, flip flop.
Yeah, that's not too bad. I got somebody that would join Castle. He's a left winger from Grid streams and such. He's pretty good faith, pretty good peoples.
Okay. Is he okay? Castle. Hold on. Just let me message Ferb because I mean originally I asked him, but just give him like a little bit of time to see if he messages back, and if not, we'll get with Castle. Just out of appreciation for him, because he did say that.
I told him it's not 100%. I got to run it by you guys first, but he said he's available if you need.
Okay, cool. At least we have somebody there for an emergency one. But let's see.
But yeah,
Do you have I haven't booked panels in a long time. Do you have backup reserves usually?
Yeah.
And do they also end up canceling, or you also can't get to them at the moment of truth?
Sometimes you can't, bro. That's the thing. And usually Ferb's good at messaging back pretty quick, but again, I mean, sometimes they'll get back to me 5 minutes, 10 minutes later. So that's the only thing. But if we already got somebody there for Tyler, we'll give it one more minute. If not, fuck it. We'll go with Castle.
He said he might be busy. He's doing the horseradish tonight, and I'm sitting that out this evening. So
That he might be busy, but is he still down to do it?
yeah, he's judging. I don't. He might have to leave early, so that's just not gonna work probably. I can ask more.
Tyler,
Okay.
I say this as your friend. So you invest in the suit, but you don't invest in the mic.
I have a really nice microphone. It's just fucking. I don't know. My setup sucks.
he needs more furniture.
Yeah.
I think is the main thing. Yeah.
I just moved. This room is pretty fucking empty, so it's not doing so well. I'm gonna get all that shit eventually, but we're still moving in, still buying furniture for the rest of the house. So
It does sound like you're taking a shit though. I'm not gonna lie.
I
Like
don't
if you drop that,
Sounds like you're in the bathroom, bro. Yeah.
I leave
yeah. If you
shits.
drop that back screen, I guarantee you there'd be like a sink or something like that in the background or something like that. Fair enough. Fair enough. Fair enough. Man is he's a man of his word. The gentleman and a scholar.
All right. You know what? Fuck it, dude. Go ahead and send Castle the link.
Yeah, no.
Well, yeah, gentlemen, real quick, just to tie up the thing. If you do the half and half, then that's not the traditional thing. And then, like I said, if you like think about the woman that like, if you get the yes where you're paying, right?
Dylan,
You don't
let
really
me-
know.
Well, let
It's
me
like,
ask.
you don't really know if she's interested in you or if she's just interested in a free meal. Whereas if she's going on the date and she was willing to pay, that's the yes that you're getting from her. You know for a fact she loves you for you, bruh. I'm telling you. A bit of wisdom and the craziness, madness. But
Yes, I don't know. I guess I don't do a lot of like blind dates where I'm just I would be going out with somebody because I already have some idea that I have an interest in them. I wouldn't just be going out with like a rando, or it'd be somebody that I've met before usually. So I
Did you ever
less for me
have
to
you
relate. But
ever
if the quantity is random, then I could see from a selfish need to protect your wallet why one would want them to pay first. But I don't know. I guess I would use that as like a test for them. It wouldn't be the only test, but maybe it could be a test. You could, if you wanted it to be that.
Yeah, I once told a chick on a first date to go halvesies and then never spoke to me ever again after that. So chicks do take that into consideration, and that was me like experimenting, by the way.
But Dylan, would you agree that it's bullshit that the expectation is that one party has to pay for the whole meal?
Well, yeah. I mean, if it was 300 years ago and men were the like primary breadwinners and all social interact, then yeah, then this social expectation would make sense. It isn't like that anymore, and so it should. It's more of it's the Wild West going into the 21st century.
Yeah, no, I get that, and like that's what I'm saying. Embrace the whole thing of like, why should we like? Let's flip the script. Let's not just go conservative.
People
Let's
like
go
the romance.
conservative
Some
with a
people like the
twist.
romance of it. I think it works if you're trying to find that type of woman that you want to treat. They want to be treated. They want that type of relationship. Then I think it works in finding those people. But if you don't want that, then you're just gonna be like, oh man, she's selfish, man. She just wants a free meal.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. There is videos, right, of like chicks that will go through like their phone numbers lists, and like they have like random dudes like called like Domino's, Uber, like referring to them as like, this is the dude that like I flirt with to get free taxi rides. This dude I flirt with to get free meals. You know what I mean? Like so much of these like bitches are doing like really fucked up shit. You know what I mean? And it's like we don't have any kind of like in society we have that kind of like archetype image of like the misogynist, the wife beater, do you know what I mean, with like the white shirt and all that kind of shit. Like we have that kind of stereotypical image, but we don't have that stereotypical image of like the female equivalent. Do you know what I mean?
Do we not? I mean, when I watch a lot of movies, it's pretty stereotypical, like a woman who will flirt for like a free drink, and I've seen that imagery before. I don't know what I would call that as a phenotype of a type of people, but I've seen that popularly represented in media.
No, like I mean in like a proper kind of like misandrist kind of like think about like a scene where like you have a dude like actually beating the shit out of a woman, and it's bloody and it's like it's right in your face, and it's like think like Passion of the Christ, but it's
Not very
a
nice.
dude beating the shit out of his wife. You know what I mean?
Passion of the
Like
Christ,
that
but with
shit
the-
like hits you, that impacts you, like that's like real and all this kind of shit. We can all say that's a fucking travesty. You know what I mean? That man's beyond fucking redemption, all this kind of shit. You know what I mean? But what is the female equivalent?
Well, I guess there's not really a direct physical female equivalent in most instances because men they're
It's
stronger
not
than
physical.
women.
It's
Yeah,
more
yeah,
mental
so
with them.
there's
Like, that's
it's
why
a
women
different
use
type of-
poisons and shit
You're
like
you're
that.
pulling at a different type of heartstring where a woman's taking advantage of you, or they're playing
Tyler,
with
read
your
the
heart,
private
or they're
chat.
cheating on you. Those types of things they pull differently on your emotions. They're different emotions they're keying into. Where you see a woman getting beaten to death, it's like survival of the community. Like you don't want to watch somebody get like killed because they fucking let the tuna casserole burn, or she said something or whatever it was.
But what I'm saying is that like that white that scene is like that's like misogyny, like ramped up to 11. Like that's it directly in your face. This is what like we talk about. It's like when they're saying like extreme, like this dude hates women. Like Jack the Ripper would be another example of like this dude hated women. You know what I mean? But when we go to the misandrist, what name or like what like image do we put in our heads for that?
If there's like a female serial killer that did what Jack the Ripper did and then got cited in a bunch of novels, maybe. But I mean, I think maybe there was that one Nazi chick that worked at the concentration camps. She was probably pretty awful. I don't know but I mean, like located in misandry. I mean, it's serial killing. That seems to be a mainly male industry.
I wouldn't think it's necessarily serial killing because again, like women are not like physical in that way. Because like when you think of like men, like in terms of like they have the force. So then what do women
wait, the
have?
female serial killers I do know are ones like they're nurses. They get like put something in like a syringe and they go into the hospital and they'll kill like 30, 40, 50 people before you know what happened. And like an old folks home, so people don't or really suspect what's going on because they're all like 92. So people were expecting to eventually pass anyway. Those are when I think of like high profile like female serial killers, those seem to be the ones that I know of.
Yeah, but I'd say that's more so like Angel of Death kind of thing. Like that's not like
Alright.
misandry. You know what I mean? Like I'm saying
I got
like
us-
what specifically is
I got us a
misandry.
Ringyald.
Yeah, go ahead.
What was that, Tyler?
I got us a Ringyald.
You got us all what?
Ringyald, the streamer.
Okay, let's do it.
This
Bring
is what
them
I'm
in.
saying. These motherfuckers need to start using proper names. I
Yeah,
don't
like,
care
what
if you
the
call
hell is
yourself Bob or some shit like that. Just like
Like a
call
normal
yourself
name.
Bob. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't even know if a person's being referenced half the time.
That's one of
It's
my
like-
problems too with some of these streamers too. There you go. We got him in. There you go. Perfect. How do you say your name, bro?
Ringyald.
Ringyald. All right. I'm gonna have trouble saying that, so forgive me, bro. Ringyald.
Oh, good.
Okay.
Maybe
Ringyald.
we can cut the intros down to 3 minutes or whatever, since he's coming in unprepared.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. We could do a 3 minute, or we'll do a
We had
soft
intros.
5.
I didn't know we had intros.
Just, yeah. Well, the intros are just going to be you guys introducing yourselves, etc. After that, I'll give you guys about 5 minutes each to do an opening of your thoughts on the matters over there in Minnesota, and then we're going to go into open dialogue. Everybody
yeah,
cool
we
with
go
that?
first to make it. Yeah, do we want to go first because then it gives them
Yeah.
they can like fill out their openers with like already rebuttal and all this kind of shit, and then that puts us perfect into the open.
Perfect. We can do it that way, man. All right, guys.
Let's go take this real quick.
Go for it. We're gonna play a 2-minute intro for you guys, and then we'll shoot back here. All right. So I'll see you in a bit.
Alright, we're muting that shit because it's fucking annoying. Alright, we're finally getting fucking started. Well, that's why, you know, you gotta keep friendly with people you disagree with, because moments like this pop up, and you just gotta make sure you got some people to pop in. Alright, let's finish this Red Bull so I can get the fucking sleep tonight. Yeah, there is a little bit of an echo I've noticed, but I'm getting some of them fucking wall mount things that bounce sound around properly, so... I got 7 people in here and 3 likes, that's less than 50%. 0 new subs, that's 0%. No, there's 3 I can see right now. Maybe I see him sooner. Oh, there's 5 now. Oh boy. Sub button, like button. You guys want to hear his intro real quick to see how fucking gay it is? It's very, very, weedy. I hope he has sex at some point in his life and... Oh, here we go.
Welcome, everybody, this great Saturday night discussion, debate, whatever the fuck you want to call it, doesn't really matter. But today we got a great panelist with us today. Actually, two people here. Dylan Burns, who's never actually been on Project VO Pod, his first debut here. Really happy to hear you. or hear you, see you here. And Rinyard, which I believe that's how you say your name. Also a newcomer here on Project VeoPod. Happy to have you as well, man. With that being said, let's kind of dive into this. It's going to be the state of Minnesota versus Donald Trump and all of the chaos that's been going on over there. But before we get into it, I want you guys to kind of introduce yourselves to the audience, see what you're about, etc. We'll start with you, Teriak, just small introductions of where everybody can find you.
My name is Teriak. I'm a leprechaun. You can find me over the rainbow. My mom took Tylenol. I do memes, gaming, and a show called Wheel of Madness on Fridays and Saturdays, or Thursday nights, really late Thursday nights, or early Friday mornings and Saturday mornings. And yeah, that's basically it. Tareya yak, AK. Sorry, fuck's sake. Already fucking up. Yeah, on YouTube, all that kind of shit, X, all the socials.
There you go. There you go. Tyler, go ahead, my friend.
Average debate enjoyer, just recently moved to YouTube, trying to hit that monetization, so come on over and press that sub button. I try to cover politics like John Madden covered football on YouTube. When you see me on X, I'm usually being an asshole for shits and giggles. So generally, classically fall on the left. Modern day politics kind of fall on the right, but pretty damn close to the center and way up at the top of the authority part. So yeah, let's go.
All right, there you go. Dylan, go ahead and introduce yourself, man.
Hi, my name is Dylan Burns. I'm a war journalist based in Maryland, the best state in the union, if you have not heard. I spend like 8 to 9 months out of the year over in Ukraine recording documentaries on the front line, embedded with the National Guard, the Army, just whatever I can get my hands on. And when I'm not doing that, I'm back in the States, just trying to look for other stuff to go around and film. I'm actually headed to Minneapolis this Monday, and I'm going to be filming a documentary there. So this conversation kind of slid up right behind me at a perfect time. So happy to talk today.
Thank you so much for that, man. And of course, the replacement for the Powder Dusty, unfortunately, he ended up backing out of this debate, didn't get back to me. But we got Rinyal as a replacement. Go ahead and tell the audience what you're about, bro.
Hey, I'm Ringyald. I'm a liberal. I do debates. Formerly on TikTok, trying to move over to YouTube as well because TikTok is a really, really, really bad platform. But yeah, I'm a replacement. Hopefully I don't shit the bed too hard for not being prepared for this.
That's all good. You have a bit of an excuse since you kind of came in here as an emergency debater, man. I really appreciate that, dude. Really appreciate that. With that being said, let's do the openers and see what y'all's arguments is. We'll start with the right-wing side, Teriak and Tyler, whoever wants to go first on this.
Hey, do you want to go first, Tyler?
No, you take it.
I guess, Jake, I have a couple links there. I think you, because we want to keep it like short or whatever, we're going to skip straight to part 2. But the main thing here is, like, you might be wondering, why the fuck is a leprechaun commentating on American politics? Because I can give the outside perspective. Think about Loki. Loki was the outsider to the Odinsons. You know what I mean? He was a Laufeyson. You know what I mean? That outside perspective is needed. So when you look at this shit going down in Minnesota, there's a disagreement and like this whole thing of like urge to protest, right? So a disagreement, we need to look at both sides, okay? So it's like, who's drifted off the message and why is the key question. So if our opponents can genuinely answer that question, fair play to them. But Jake, if you can pull up part 2, that link, please. So
1 second.
Real quick.
Yeah, hold on really quick.
Because you guys don't need to trust, because you're both left wing. You don't need to trust my words. We can trust the words of Obama. Okay? So, President Obama, like I said, Jake, if you want to make that big screen, like I said, we got to respect. That's the president, Jake. We got
all right.
Let's hear him loud and proud.
The immigrants' rights community, who have argued passionately that we should simply provide those who are illegally with legal status, or at least ignore the laws on the books and put an end to deportation until we have better laws. And often this argument is framed in moral terms. Why should we punish people who are just trying to earn a living? I recognize the sense of compassion that drives this argument. But I believe such an indiscriminate approach would be both unwise and unfair. It would suggest to those thinking about coming here illegally that there will be no repercussions for such a decision. And this could lead to a surge in more illegal immigration. And it would also ignore the millions of people around the world who are waiting in line to come here legally. Ultimately, our nation, like all nations, has the right and obligation to control its borders and set laws for residency and citizenship. There are those
All right.
So that,
in the
that's the
immigrants'
first
rights.
step, right?
Yep.
So like that's the first thing. So you guys even got to compete with your own president. You know what I mean? These aren't even my words. So I don't want to hear no like thing in terms of like represent myself, all this kind of shit, right? That's numero uno. And before my opponents even tried to play any sympathy cards and all this kind of shit and like all like think about charity, all this kind of shit. Here's a demonstration exactly of what I predict is going to happen. Jay, can you please play the third clip and make it full screen?
Yeah, I got you right here, bro. Hold on. I've seen this one. It's hilarious.
Caring for people was at the core of who he was. He was incapable of causing harm. Alex carried patience, compassion, and calm as a steady light within him. Even at the very end, that light was there. I recognized his familiar stillness and signature calm composure. Caring for people was at the
All right, there
So,
you guys have it there.
this shit where this dude was an angel, he was incapable of harm. Why the fuck is he going and spitting on federal officers and kicking their fucking tail out to begin with? To the point where he's going against what Obama was saying just before Trump was in office. So like in terms of like the ridiculous that we have here, I'd like to again frame it like I said because we just have enough time. Jake, would you please play the first clip as well because we just have enough time?
Yeah, we got enough time here. All right, let's play this one.
So I think we got to have tough conditions. Tell people to come out of the shadows. If they've committed a crime, deport them. No questions asked. They're gone. If they've been working and are law-abiding, we should say, here are the conditions for you staying. You have to pay a stiff fine because you came here illegally. You have to pay back taxes. And you have to try to learn English. And you have to wait in line.
All right, there you guys
So-
have it there.
We're not going to do this gaslighting of we're far right, you just hate the immigrants, etc., etc. These are clearly the radicals that have shifted fucking 3 octaves to next level of extremism. They are the extremists, not the people that want to preserve their culture.
All right. With that being said, thank you so much for that opening statement, Teriak. Tyler, the floor is yours, my friend.
All right, so I take most of my analysis from the Pink Coat Ladies video that starts about a minute and a half before the conflict between ICE and the 3 people in the road kicks off. There's still a question in my mind about the first shot, and I think the investigation being done by the FBI is going to clear that up for us, where it came from and why it was done. But other than that, I think that all the actions taken by ICE against Pretty were justified. I'm a Clinton Democrat that voted for Obama, the deporter-in-chief, and Hillary myself. So in that video, we see 2 women approach an officer who is getting into his vehicle, and they stand on the left side of the vehicle, the only egress for that vehicle to pull out. That is blocking the traffic while they're also standing in the middle of the roadway. These people blocking the roadway, what that does, as the courts have said in multiple different rulings, when you stand in the roadway, you are creating a more dangerous, hazardous situation for officers. Now, that doesn't automatically give ICE the authority to police that. They have to be either in a dangerous or put into a dangerous situation, or their official duties have to be impeded. So what we see is Mr. Pushy, the officer, goes and tells woman 1 to get out of the road, a lawful command, get out of the road. He goes over to woman 2 and Pretty. He tells them to get out of the road. They refuse. He starts pushing them. He pushes Pretty out of the road. He goes to push the woman out of the road. Woman 1 comes back around the car from the road and approaches him from behind. He grabs her, puts her in front of him, pushes her out of the road. That's when Pretty steps in and assaults the officer. He doesn't even have to touch him, but he does. You can see from a different angle, the officer moves backwards. Multiple courts have cleared officers using this lowest level of force, which is open-handed force. They have let these officers retain their qualified immunity, and I have multiple examples of different case rulings that do that. This is based off the totality of circumstances, and this comes from Graham v. Connor, which I'm going to get to as well in the body of this debate. The chaos of the situation is also another circumstance. The loud whistles, the screaming, and all the chaos going on around them affected their communication. But why are CBP and BPA even there in the first place assisting ICE? That's because local police and local state law enforcement were nowhere to be found. They were not arresting people that were doing crimes. They were being called off. We saw the National Guard called in to hand out donuts and coffee to the protesters, which again, 95% of the protesters were there being peaceful. This is a small handful of people being violent. They're organized on a signal chat that was exposed, telling people to obstruct traffic. All 13 states that are currently ignoring federal laws to deport illegal aliens in the country are culpable here. They are somewhat to blame in a moral act. Now, legally, they're not compelled to, and this comes from a Supreme Court ruling actually written by Scalia about gun rights. So it's a right-wing ruling that they're using to keep up sanctuary cities. But at the end of the day, though they are not compelled legally to enforce these laws, there is a moral wrong in allowing federal crimes to go on in your state and working against federal officers that have the jurisdiction to go in and remove these people. So who is at fault here? Pretty Good and Sosa Celeste, the 3 shootings that took place in ICE. At the end of the day, they're responsible for their actions, so at the top of that hierarchy, they lie. Next, I would say the ICE officers who are acting a bit too aggressively. Nobody wants this guy shot. We call it lawful but awful. Probably justified. Again, we're pending investigation on that first shoot. But generally, it is the fault of, first, the people that did it, second, the officers, and next, the local government that's refusing to police crimes going on. We see people breaking into and blocking vehicles. We see people going after ICE in their hotel and restaurants when they're off duty. And we see state police being called and not showing up to the scene. I was against the January 6th insurrection. My first debate online was against Pisco, trying to clarify that him using hyperbole actually hurts his argument against the insurrection that happened on January 6th. It's a bad thing. I'm using that term colloquially because nobody was actually charged with the Insurrection Act. So anyone that's going to get technical on me there, Trump was called evil for waiting 2 hours, where Tim Walz waited 2 months of different instances, about 2 weeks after the first shooting, to come in with any state police to arrest these people. This is significantly more time. At the end of the day, each of the... oh shit, I lost my spot. Each of these were justified under SCOTUS rulings. We know that that ICE officers and people in federal law enforcement can bypass posse comitatus under 2 conditions. One, from this ruling, it was Noam versus Velasquez Pomo in September 25, is if you impede their duties. The other is if you put them in a dangerous situation by creating or exacerbating danger. Blocking the road fits both of those criteria. I'm going to go into a bunch of different cases, Turner v. Driver, Graham v. Connor, and several other things, Heibel v. 6th Judicial Court of Nevada, and show you that these rulings have held up. I also have Minnesota law, federal law. I'm going to show you that is not being enforced at the Minnesota level, and the federal law that shows that he assaulted an officer. This is all almost non-disputable unless you think he has a valid self-defense claim, which we can go into that as well because I have those precedents. We want to go down that route too.
Okay, thank you so much for that opening statement, my friend. Very, very good one right there. Liked it. Dylan Burns, we'll get to you, my friend. Your time starts now, man.
Fantastic. So I don't know if we should start with the shooting. I would have brought links and videos maybe if I knew we could throw up videos up on the screen. But I think I'll start with the fact that ICE is there in the first place. When ICE goes to a community, they are law enforcement from the federal authorities. They are coming from a place where they don't know the locals, they don't know the people on the street, because they come from West Virginia, they come from Florida, they come from DC, they come from wherever they're based. And if they're going into a community and they're going around masked up and not identifying themselves, you're already going to create a hostile environment. If you don't know the person who is enforcing the laws and who has the authority to enforce laws upon you, your neighbors, and make people in your community from the perspective of those in the city disappear, that's going to be an aggravative factor. Another thing that's going to be an aggravative factor is going to be ICE, the entire organization, trying to use administrative warrants and playing them off as if they have the power of a judicial warrant. An administrative warrant does not have the power of a judicial warrant. And the way that the administration is talking right now goes against what ICE's handbook from last year said, which is that, Article 4 protects from the most evil violation of our property rights and the going into people's home, and that at the end of the day, there are only 3 guidelines by which they can enter a home, and none of them said administrative warrant. Judicial warrant, extenuating circumstances like somebody shooting out of the home at you, something along those lines, but nothing about an administrative warrant. And so when you start treading upon the 4th Amendment, when you start saying, I have to be masked up in your community to protect myself, there's going to create an environment. The only environment that could be spawned from that is going to be one that is hostile. And so they come to a community that didn't want them there to enforce immigration law. Okay? They're going to enforce immigration law. What type of immigration law? Well, we're going to go after the murderers. We're going to go to the rapists. We're going to go after the pedophiles. We're going to go after the worst of the worst. But then CBP does not go after the worst of the worst. They go after basically everybody. If you're a U.S. citizen walking on the street, the way CBP was saying, if you're anywhere in the vicinity of a raid, if you're anywhere in the vicinity of an operation, those officers have the right to card you. They have the right to ask for your identification. They have the right to stop you on the street, even if you are not suspected of any crime. My problems with this ICE buildup, we can talk about the specific shooting and whether it's murder, negligent homicide, whether it's a man who's trigger happy but will likely get away with it before a court of law. We never had to get to this point in the first place. We could talk about local authorities rejecting federal authority, but any high road that Republicans could have claimed from federal authority is disregarded when that federal authority acts in a way that they don't have the powers to act. When they say, we have the power to ignore the magistrate. When they say we don't have to identify ourselves. When they say we can shoot people in the street and then disregard local authorities in their investigations. We don't need to turn over physical evidence. We don't need to do that. You just need to accept that when the bullets hit your body, you turn into a domestic terrorist. And it's not going to be helped that every single time one of these shootings happen, or any type of really any tragedy that blame could fall with the administration and their policies, they immediately get into the blame game. I saw it first when I was in the DC area, and a bunch of our locals got killed after the Ronald Reagan National Airport disaster and a helicopter colliding with the plane. What's the first thing the president comes out and says? It's woke. It's woke that did it. It has to do with affirmative action hires. Before any investigation was done, before any type of look into, what actually caused this disaster had occurred, they immediately come out and start pointing fingers all around the room. And they did the same thing when it came to Renee Good, and then they did the same thing when it came to Alex Peretti. That Alex Peretti was going to go there and he was an assassin. He was going to do a massacre. And then Trump started talking like a pistol was this type of with this very powerful pistol with the extra magazines. My God, he was talking the way that I expect any Democrat stereotypically to talk about guns from a Republican perspective. And so I think right now the Republican Party wants to move away from this very fast. The reason Homan was moved in there as essentially not a white flag, but almost like a truce message. Like, look, this is not doing well for us. The polling is showing that for the first time in American history, a plurality of Americans wants to see ICE abolished. 5-10 years ago, somebody says ICE is abolished. What does that mean? That means you don't want immigration enforcement. That means you don't want borders. That means you don't want any type of America to really enforce its immigration laws at all. And that is a type of weakness the American people did not want. But now, because of the actions of the Trump administration, a plurality of the American people for the first time want to see ICE go out the window. They're able to make a distinction between the organization and the existence of immigration enforcement, which existed before ICE's creation. And so right now, we can keep having these panels on this shooting, and we can talk about, whether ICE is behaving in a way that is within the laws and order that we're all supposed to abide by. But at the end of the day, the longer we talk about it, the more of a losing issue it's going to be for the Republican Party, because those videos just don't look good, no matter how much legalese you throw at it.
Okay. Thank you so much for that opening statement, Dylan. Very, very well put there. The last opening statement right here, Rinyald. I hope I'm pronouncing your name right?
All good, all good.
Okay, all right. I don't want to be rude here. I'm not doing it on purpose. Rinyald, go ahead, my friend. You have 5 minutes on the clock.
So I doubt I'm going to use the whole 5 minutes. My main argument is just that these mass deportation efforts, and by extension, the ICE raids, are kind of a problem or a solution in search of a problem. I've never seen it seems like the definition of what even is an illegal immigrant at this point is so watered down to the point that it basically means nothing, to the point where people with protected status are counted as illegal immigrants, or somebody who was encountered at the border and turned away is somehow still considered as somebody who entered the country. It's where this giant 10 million number is. And these kind of lies justify these ICE raids. And I don't see with these ICE raids, you're basically along with it. Because if you're looking to do this very quickly over the span of 4 years, you're looking to violate a lot of people's rights, because that's the only way you're going to be able to get this many people out of the country as quickly as possible. You're going to be inflaming the people, because generally Americans just don't like super militarized policing. We see that all of the time. And it's just it costs so much money, right? So I think these are three really big problems, especially the abuses of rights, which I think Dylan Burns pointed out a decent amount. With all of that considered, I just don't see what the point of these ICE raids are. And when we see cases like Renee Good and we see cases like Alex Preddy, I don't see why we would expect anything different because, as I said, when you super militarize a police force, people get really unrestful. And I'm not justifying people rioting, but I am saying that I don't know what we would expect to happen other than these kinds of shootings. I just don't see when we take into account all of the bad things that we're getting from the ICE raids, why do them when we're not really even getting anything in return? Insofar as the particulars of the shooting, I've seen nothing to justify the shooting of Alex Preddy. It seems like that's the general consensus of the American people. Same case for Renee Good. I just don't understand why these ICE raids are happening and why we're willing to compromise our Fourth Amendment rights, our Fifth Amendment rights, our First Amendment rights, all these different rights, in order to do what? That's basically all.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much for that opening statement for the left wing positions on that. With that being said, gentlemen, the floor will be open. Go ahead.
Yeah, so real quick, because like again, shout out to Andrew in chat and all stuff. Like what is Tarek doing? All stuff is because Tyler's bringing the facts, he's bringing the legal precedent, he's bringing all this kind of shit, and I'm basically preventing him from doing this whole moral argument or trying to do this whole Trump derangement syndrome. This is not just Trump's policy. This was the Democrats' policies before Trump.
Okay.
Do not listen
well,
to the videos. One sec. Do not listen to the videos where you're talking like your own president, like a Democrat president was saying we're like the fact that like there's any resistance to saying we need to deport these these illegals that like immigrants have that come into the country and are committing crime. We need to deport them. There is resistance to that. What you guys are doing are trying to look at isolated events and just look at the individual event and say this is like happened in an abstract. This is why I showed you the Tom Petty video. Why is he kicking out a taillight of a federal officer's car? And you're trying to act as though, oh, like it's just like randomly ICE is just like gunning down like puppies like in South Park. That's not what's happening in reality. What you're seeing, like what you're ignoring is this is ICE's problem. You're putting all the problem on ICE and saying we can't see a problem, but this whole anti-ICE, the violence that they're causing, you're saying, well, hey, like that's just like people will be people. Like you're trying to hold one side to an impossible moral standard, while then ignoring all the violence that ICE is trying to prevent.
My standard is the same standard that has existed since the Constitution was written. The Fourth Amendment does say, and this was put in place to stop British soldiers from, stepping in our houses and, any future American soldiers from abusing the sanctity of the home, that you're not allowed to go into that home unless you have a magistrate's warrant, not an immigration judge, not an administrative warrant, not, the hopes and prayers of liberty-loving people everywhere. You need a magistrate's warrant. Obama didn't do that. He didn't say you didn't need a magistrate's warrant. Hillary never advocated for that on the campaign trail. Bush never did that. Reagan never did that. In fact, that was not the policy of a previous presidency. Yeah. That's the policy of Donald Trump's presidency. Another thing that wasn't the policy for
it's the same worldview. It's the same worldview.
ICE officers all have to cover up. They all have to cover their identities. Their identities are secret. Also, another thing that was not done by previous administrations, we're not going to share this information with local investigators for these high-profile shootings.
Real quick,
there are major
quick.
differences.
Just real quick. Answer this question. Just answer this question.
Or Obama.
What happens if the state is not complying with Obama? What happens?
If a state does not comply with Obama, there's some sort of usually federal versus states' rights showdown that is done out in the courts.
And then again, like if they're still not complying, courts agree.
It depends on what the state, because if the state says, you know what, they can bake whatever cake they want, if that's what the judge says, then okay, it looks like states' rights says they can bake whatever cake they want. Like,
but the state commissioner is actively the state commissioner, the governor, the leader of the state is actively going against the federal. What happens then?
What happens is that the head of the state probably just sues the federal government to enjoin an action, right? And then if it rules against them, and
at no point do you send in force.
You send in force if the states aren't complying with the judicial orders, baby.
Yeah, so,
But right
so
now,
like this
all
whole
of these
aspect of like, I
orders are
don't know
going against
why
the Trump
ICE is here.
administration.
Like this
If-
whole
okay, let's
open and
clear.
bollocks that we have to listen
if
to.
Tim
It's like,
Walz
I don't know
took the
why
National
ICE
Guard,
is here. It's because they're
if-
not
wait,
complying.
okay.
We're
If Tim
deporting these
Walz
motherfuckers, and,
took the
and you're
National
trying to
Guard-
use
Okay,
any
hold on,
excuse
Terry.
possible.
Hold on, Tarek. Dylan, go ahead and respond to that.
If Tim Walz took the National Guard and he said, you need to stop these evil Nazi ICE agents from Anne Franking all of the people in the Minneapolis area in a way that only he can say, and then he does that, then the federal authorities can come in and they can stop them. This is what happened when, Brown v. Board of Education, when they tried to do integration, they tried to send in, the state government tried to send in forces to stop federal laws from being applied. Federal authority took control and it was over. If that's what he was doing, then they could stop him. That's not what he's doing. He's just saying, ICE, have fun playing, Tom and Jerry with the local undocumented community when everyone
that's the
hates
rules.
you.
Yeah,
That's
when
not
you sign up
illegal.
for ICE, like that's all they say is like,
Let me
have
jump
fun,
in here,
guys.
Teriak. Let me jump in here. So
Yeah, go ahead.
when police officers or anybody enters a home, it's not just warrant based. We have probable cause. This is backed up by tons and tons of case law. When you are in a state like Minnesota or one of the 13 sanctuary states that allow illegal immigrants to get licenses to become documented illegal immigrants and such, you have to register your address. When you are a legal alien and you register your address to get a license to vote in local elections and things of that nature, you are telling the government your address. You are telling your government, I am a legal alien and here is where I live. That qualifies as probable cause to enter a home.
Certainly
Government,
not.
number one, there have been cases where they have entered the backyards and the properties of people where there is no undocumented people registered at their home. That has happened on multiple occasions. So even if we were to apply the standard that you're putting down, ICE doesn't even always apply by that standard. We just had another video came out, something happening in an auto shop. We just had another video come out yesterday where somebody tried to go in somebody's backyard and they said, get the fuck off my property, my fourth rights, literally citing his Fourth Amendment rights, because some Americans are educated about that. But there are certain circumstances where they can't do that. But the instance where they tried to do that, the high profile instance with the man in the shorts where they took the man out, it wasn't the correct man, dropped him off in his shorts in the icy cold. These are the profile instances where I think the government might actually benefit from letting the judges do the deciding work. Because so far, they've been pretty bad at it. When they either try to do these warrants themselves or they just try to go out themselves, if they let the judicial system be the check and balance, the Trump administration would have a lot less controversy. During the first term, ICE had a positive approval rating. During the first term, DHS had a 59% approval rating. Right now, they're both in the tank because they're trying to throw off the checks and balances that kept them on the tracks the first term.
I would add as well that like the argument that Tyler is making that they get probable cause by knowing an illegal immigrant signs up for a particular address isn't even the argument that they make in the memo, because obviously that would be permissible, but that's not the only cases in which they're filling out these I-205s. The thing that they say establishes probable cause is a final order of removal, and then that footnote they say that the final order of removal isn't even necessary. So like here they're claiming that just having an order of removal and seeing that an illegal immigrant or a suspected illegal immigrant is somewhere gives them enough probable cause to bring an I-205 to their superior officer for them to sign as a judicial warrant. But that's not how the warrant system works, right? You need an impartial magistrate.
Yeah, well, that would be how it's working in the immigration courts. Immigration courts are an Article 2 set of courts, so they work differently than going to an Article 3 judge, and that's what they're using as the probable
But
cause.
no, they're not even going to immigration judges. They're going to their superior officers. The officers are the ones that sign I-205s because that's what gives you the permission to arrest somebody. But in no world does it give you the right to enter a private area.
I hear your 3 points. Let me get to Dylan's first, and then I'll come back to yours as well. So, Dylan, you were talking about the polling. So, defund the police at one point was also something that polls cited to be something that the majority of people approved of. But when it came election time, it turns out defunding federal officers and state police.
Can you prove that to me?
Yeah,
Prove that to me,
can
because
show
I don't
you-
believe that.
I can show you. polls at the
There
time.
were times where things like accountability for the police or whatever, any amount of slogans you want to throw out there, defund the police was never popular because it was always seen as pro-crime. It was always
Really
seen
quick.
by pro-crime, by working class people, and it was never able to get communicated properly by leftists on
I'll get
social
you that
media.
poll. But
Yeah.
Going into the specific poll you're citing about ICE being unpopular and the majority want to abolish, when you go into the samples of that poll, it's about 70% women. And I'm not saying women are prescribed to think any certain way, but if you look at the
Yeah, they are.
demographics on both sides,
Okay, let's you know what? Let's say
sampling
that
bias there.
women ruin my. Let's say the women ruin my ICE polling data, and let's just go off the DHS polling, which has seen a 20+ point drop since the first administration and the second administration, where Americans, for the first time, many of them actually learned what the DHS was in the first place. And for ICE, whether or not it's a plurality or it's tied, in the first term of Trump, a majority of Americans wanted ICE to be there. Abolish ICE was seen as a fringe, radical position. Trump has thrusted it into a position that is relatively mainstream through his behavior and the behavior of ICE.
Sure, I agree with you that Trump might have been going overboard, and I even said that in my introduction that ICE is going a little too gung-ho. CBP and BPA are not trained to deal with stuff like this. The reason that they're being brought in is because the state and locals that are actually supposed to be doing this are not. So they needed backup. They brought in other people. If you actually look at the breakdown, only 2.2% of ICE's activity is going on in Minnesota, meaning 97.8% is going on outside of it. There's been about 500,000 people deported by ICE since Trump took office, and about 2.2 million have self-deported. So out of the 2.7 million people deported, we're talking about 0.01% of incidents that have taken place. So we're talking
That's
about
interesting. Let's
extreme
focus on
My
that.
boy is
Let's
spitting
focus on that for a
fire.
moment. That's interesting because Minneapolis' population is very low when it comes to undocumented people. We're talking about, I think, roughly 2% of the population of Minneapolis, right? So that means 98%
That's pretty
of
big.
the people are people who are documented individuals, right? They're not the individuals. And of those undocumented people, how many of them are the blood murdering, blood guzzling criminals that Trump portrayed on the campaign trail that he was going to go
That's the
after?
second point I was gonna get
An
to.
even smaller percentage.
The second point I was going to
But
get to was
so
what
much
Trump
force
actually
has
said.
been focused in Minneapolis, just like so much force has been focused in Washington, D.C., and just like he tried to threaten rejudication funding, rebuilding funding for the Maryland Bridge. I don't know if you knew about the Key Bridge collapse, but when that collapse happened and the governor of our state said, hey, you know what, we need to rebuild, they go forward with that action. He tries to threaten that funding over them just critiquing these deployments as, hey, this is obviously targeted towards Democrat cities, this is not right. And so my question to you is, do you think a lot of this is happening not necessarily because just ICE is operating, but there's an overabundance of agents? I mean, we just heard Holman come out like, yes, we do need to actually decrease the amount of agents. We're going to decrease the amount of agents, that there's a certain amount of targeting of Democrat-run cities that's going on here.
Yeah, so I'll first address what you, I was going to get this before too, what the Trump administration said in both, what the Trump campaign said before they actually took office, and the administration said, is they're not just targeting the worst of the worst. Those were some people, those are the ones they focused on for the PR narrative, but they also said everybody with a valid deportation order, which is about 2.2 million of the people that were here illegally. So they are focusing, on top of that, they said collateral damage. When we go for those people that we are focused, when we find any other people that are here illegally on the way, we're going to get them as well, even if they don't fit the top priority list. So just because they're the top priority does not mean they're also not acceptable to be arrested. They're just not the main target. So they are going after exactly who they said.
I mean, does it really
And just
speak to
one
somebody
sec,
being
one sec. Let me just echo this. Like, for example, Dylan, if you owned a nightclub and someone like got round like the $10 fee to entry and was in the club, would you kick them out of the club? Would you get the bouncer to kick them out of the club?
Yes.
Alhamdulillah, brother.
Now let's
A
say you
nation
had to
is not
spend
a
$1,000 in
nightclub,
order
okay?
to
Yeah,
do
so
it.
ICE is ICE. One sec. We're looking for justification. We're looking for justification, sir. And when you
hold
look
on.
at the big
Hold on.
picture, when you look at the big picture,
Dylan,
the main principle
Hold on,
that you
guys.
just admitted to there, Dylan, the main
Let him
principle
finish,
you admitted
Dylan.
there was they're not here like the right way. They need to go out and they need to go and wait in line, which is what Hillary Clinton was saying, which is what Barack Obama was saying. And
Hillary
that's
and
what
Obama
that's
can do whatever
one
they want.
sec,
Hold on,
Dylan. That
hold on,
is the
Dylan.
justification of why ICE is there. And you're trying to ask that this is not justified whatsoever.
Okay, Dylan, go ahead and respond to that.
This isn't a nightclub, okay? When you talk about removing 2% of a city's population, that has a demonstrable effect on the local economy.
What is an
That has
analogy?
a demonstrable
Hold on,
effect on
Teriak.
people's families. That's not, hey, I'm not getting drunk. If me removing somebody from their nightclub meant that other people in the nightclub who used to have to rely on their income, whether it was spending at their store, spending at the barbershop, going to the doctors, they were an integral part of the nightclub community for 25 years. They were like all these other factors that isn't involved in some drunk college kid trying to get around a $10 fee or around his ID because he's 19 and not 21 in the United States. These are not equivocal.
Well, I don't know, Dylan. It actually
a
might be
simple
kind of a
analogy in terms
good.
of
It
principle.
actually might be kind of a good analogy, right? Because let's say that somebody gets past your bouncer and doesn't pay the $3 fee to come into the nightclub, right? But that person who bypassed the $3 fee is giving like $1,000 buying drinks. You need to pay $1,000 to the bouncer in order to get him out. You might kill him in the process. Would you do that in order to get the guy out who bypassed the $3 fee?
Yeah, so you tell me that if a guy comes in and spends a lot of money, he can start selling cocaine in my club?
No, that's a different
Well-
question. We're just talking about bypassing
Yeah, no,
the entry fee,
you
right?
added in the
Well, number
incentive
one,
of
if it's a
financial
full
gain.
club,
It's like
absolute-
if you're willing to try and go around my security and all that shit, I don't trust you. You're not welcome. Get the fuck out. This is
So
my
you would,
property.
Teriak,
you would,
this
you
is
would
America.
spend the,
Hold on,
you would
hold on.
Not being a
Real quick,
deficit.
real quick. This is
deficit of
actually
$1,000.
this is actually a pretty good counter hypothetical here. Teriak, let's say you own a club, a nightclub, and somebody got past the $3 fee to get in, but he spent maybe $1,000 at your bar before you realized he didn't pay the $3 fee. Would you kick him out?
Yeah, no, I'm gonna go up to him, and we're going to have a discussion. You know what I mean? I'm saying you're going to pay the $3 fee.
You're gonna kick him
maybe,
out?
maybe $5. We put an extra bit of a fine on all this kind of shit, and say, listen, you're spending money, but if there's any more funny business out there, you're out the fucking door. No
Wait,
questions
Terry,
asked.
that's not what's happening, right? We're
But
not
that's
coming
one
up to
sec,
people
one sec,
who-
one sec. That's
not
one
what's
aspect.
happening. You're
That
breaking
is
the
one aspect.
analogy.
That is one aspect. When you look at the individual, like I said, if they're selling cocaine, if they're like doing crazy shit in my club, they're getting the fuck out of there. What are you talking about?
Right, but let's actually go with the analogy, right? So they're paying $1,000. Let's say that you go up to them and you say, "Hey,
the
you're
analogy
either gonna
was
pay
someone who just
well,
breached
you're
your
either gonna pay
security.
the
Should you kick them
$5
out?
I agree.
And Dylan said yes. That
So,
was the
no,
analogy.
you go up to them and you say, "Hey, you're gonna pay the $5 to
This
go
is
out."
your
So do you
analogy.
agree? So wait, in
Yeah.
that case, do you agree that ICE should be going up to these illegal immigrants and giving them a pathway to citizenship instead of deporting them?
No, they're offering to pay them money to leave and self-deport. They're giving them up to $2,600.
Well, you're not this. That's again as disanalogous, right? You're talking about
How's it
having
not
a conversation
disanalogous?
with him,
How's
saying,
it not
"Hey, the
disanalogous?
$5 or I'm
It's
going to kick
basically
you
saying
out."
you're not
right? You're not
welcome.
paying him
We
$5
don't
to
like your
leave.
character. We don't like your
the
character.
liberal
And when you
position-
look at,
It was
for
actually-
example,
it was
when you look
secretly
at,
a really good
guys,
analogy,
guys, hold
but
up,
we
hold
can't
up.
look at,
do
for
it.
example, the
Hold on.
Somali fraud that's happening in Minnesota. Like small populations can do massive damage. When you look at the
We
small
understand that-
population, one sec, when you look at the small population of the Pakistani Muslims in Britain who raped God
Grape.
knows how many women because of the amount of God knows how many little girls because of the cover-ups and the shit like that, and because of motherfuckers like you said, well, the data doesn't show it. Yeah, because it's not reported or whatever
Well,
the fuck.
what the data
In terms of
shows
this
is
whole
that
thing,
73% of people in
this
ICE
whole thing where
detention
you're
have no
showing an
criminal
image
record.
of
That's
a
what it
guy,
is.
and then also on CNN, they edit it to make him look more handsome. It's weird shit going on. When I show you the counter image, like this is what the dude is. This whole thing of this guy was an angel. He was incapable of harm, and he's kicking out a fucking federal agent's light bulb. Like you're trying to act as though this is not like crazy people who were literally going after federal agents who were storming churches.
wasn't.
One
He
sec,
wasn't. I appreciate
storming
walking off
churches
Okay.
because why did they storm that church? Why? But why?
I
They
appreciate
stormed that
walking
church
off of the
because the
analogy.
leader was
I do.
linked to ICE. So again, who was the
Can I
aggressor?
get another point?
I appreciate
Okay.
walking
Who's the
off the
aggressor?
analogy. Wait, real quick.
Okay.
Can I just ask?
Rinwell,
What
go
is
ahead.
justification?
About-
Who was
Hold
the
on,
aggressor?
Teriak. Ringyal, go ahead and respond to that.
You do acknowledge that like roughly 70% of the people in ICE detention have no criminal history.
I'll acknowledge
But
that.
they're
Yeah,
still here
absolutely.
legally.
Criminal record is
So it's not just like
so-
going after criminals like that. That's
They're all
probably not an
criminals.
accurate framing.
Just because
Hold on.
they're not being charged doesn't mean they're not committing crimes. Most of these people are here illegally. If you're here illegally and working, you're working illegally.
They're not, but
You're
they're not
living here
trafficking
illegally.
fentanyl like Teriak was saying, right?
There's a
No.
no. The
If
system
70% of them are non-violent, that means 30%, 1 in 3 basically are violent criminals.
What he's saying
And
is
you're
when
saying,
you allow
oh
the
guys,
system-
you're going over the top. It's like this is actually a good ratio when you talk about like actually going
it?
in and being strategic about and all this kind of shit, and you're ignoring all that kind of shit and pointing to the 0.01% case and saying this
Well,
is
this
a
isn't
travesty.
ICE detention.
But because
Well,
when
in this
we
case,
all
it'd be
saw how you
0.1%.
motherfuckers acted when Charlie Kirk happened. So like this,
Okay.
I
Dylan
don't
was very
care
good.
what
How did
makes
we
you
get
cheer
Charlie-
how did we
because
get
I've
to Charlie
seen what
Kirk?
makes you cheer.
Dylan was
Okay.
very good at
Holy
Charlie
pivot.
Kirk.
Okay, hold on. Let's go with Dylan. I think go ahead and respond to Teriak on that, and then we'll get to Tyler.
Sorry, I respond. We got to Charlie Kirk somehow. I genuinely missed the plot how we got to Charlie. But I'll give.
Yeah,
let me give the
trying
liberal
to do the
club
moral.
example. Okay, the
You
counter.
can't do
the
the moral
idea of
shit.
the liberal
Hold-
club
hold
versus
on,
the
Tyler.
conservative
Say-
club.
yeah.
The liberal club versus the conservative club was the you deny the person because they didn't pay the $10 fee, versus you let them in anyway. The real version of the liberal club would be, oh, you're in the club, you spent $500, you didn't pay the $3 fee. We're now going to have you pay the $3 fee and become a U.S. citizen over a probate period. Like that would be the liberal compromise position, not that you either let them in or don't let them in. That's why I didn't think that it was a good comparison. It's not because, you know, I would be like a bad club owner. I probably would. I've seen Bar Rescue. That shit's hard. But it's probably just because it's not comparable. But the other
But when
thing,
the
about being an
analogy-
angel, the guy doesn't need to be an angel. I don't care if he was an angel, but the fact is, from the majority of the work he did, it looked like he did have a contributive, positive impact on his community. And then, for many of the factors that I expressed earlier, he was probably very pissed at a protest and ended up kicking that cop car. That's not nice. That's illegal. In fact, they could have detained him at that point. You want to know something interesting? They didn't. They
Yeah.
dragged him to the ground.
so
they
is he a
pinned him
criminal?
down.
But-
then they backed up. Then they left. And that also
should he be a
shows
criminal?
that it is possible to detain a man with a gun without executing him.
Dylan, do you believe that if the Minnesota Police Department actually arrested Alex Purdy,
It was an
I think-
execution, by the way.
if they actually did arrest Alex Purdy 11 days before his death, that he wouldn't have been at that protest before to even die in the first place?
Probably.
Probably. So Tim Waltz and his,
I really have no clue.
Okay. But I am saying, like, Tim Waltz and his police department didn't actually arrest Alex Purdy for at least damaging government property, right?
And ICE
So
didn't detain them for it either.
well,
real quick.
I get you there,
Let-
but
let-
fair, I still can't
let me
do
just let me just refocus because this is what's
Alright.
happening. Just to explain because the audience and all this kind of stuff is part of this as well. Like to the audience, what's happening here is they tried to make the legal argument. They're breaking all this kind of stuff. Tyler comes in. He's basically saying it's like no, like you're talking about like 0.01% of the cases. Then they switch up and say, well, the moral argument, Trump is the big meanie, fascist, all this kind of shit. And then I come in and say, it's like, actually, no, these are actually the same words
That's
that
actually not a
Obama
direct quote.
and Hillary Clinton was saying. So in terms of this rhetoric and words and all this kind of shit, that's all in you guys' head, okay? So in terms of like the whole moral argument or the legal argument, they're beat. So it's just basically cycling back and forth. At the
Well,
moment.
no, I mean, there's a huge
Honestly,
difference
I
between
understood
how the
half of those
Democrats. There's a huge difference in how the Democrats like Joe Biden or Barack Obama engaged with deportations than Donald Trump, right? Like the aim can be the same. And by the way, I disagree with the aim. All right, I'm gonna be the pick me kind of Democrat, right? But we can say that both of them had the same aim,
A
and that's
buffet
fine.
Democrat.
But isn't it kind of weird that like 32 people died in ICE detention, which was like a 20-year high? The last time this happened was under a Republican. The kind of people that like the kind of deaths that we were seeing were like 3 people in 2022, 7 people in 2023, 12 people or 10 people in 2017, 5 people in 2012. Like this is a giant departure, not only from the Democrats' previous endeavors, but also Trump's previous endeavors, right? Like the first year of his presidency, we see a 20-year high in the amount of people that die in ICE custody. We never saw that Barack Obama invoked shit like the Alien Enemies Act, right? We never saw Barack Obama saying that,
Real quick,
administrative
what was
warrants
the
can be
number?
used as impartial magistrate warrants.
go,
Like
go,
it
Tyler.
literally says in the memo, a part of DHS, that there is no historical precedence for how they are using the administrative warrants, right? So to claim like all of this is the same thing, it's just not true.
So I agree with you because, as you were saying in your introduction, the word illegal immigrant has been watered down. It's been watered down for different reasons on both sides. Under Barack Obama, the term deportation meant people turned down at the border. What you're seeing under Trump is ICE deportations are skyrocketing. Trump has surpassed Obama's 5 years of ICE deportations by about 5 times in 1 year. ICE deportations are massively up. So if we're seeing significantly more ICE deportations, we're going to see significantly more downsides. Like, as you said, the highest number, I think, was 26, you said, of people dying in a single year. So yes, absolutely. When you're deporting-
32 this past year.
So when you're seeing 500,000 ICE deportations, which again is 5 times more than Barack Obama did in 5 years, his first 5 years in office, it's 5 times more than that in 1 year. Obviously, yes, you're going to see about 5 times as many other instances of bad things as well. 100%.
But we agree that the two parties tackle these deportations in a completely different way. So the ties to Barack
Yeah.
Obama is probably a little disingenuous, right? Because it's the
I'm using
pathway to
your-
getting to the same aim.
I'm using your argument here to
Sure, and I
defend yourself.
appreciate that you agree with me, right? But Teriak, do you agree that the two administrations are going about the deportations in a separate way?
No, I want to go back to the bullshit you were talking about, the deaths in the ICE.
Well,
ICE police. What's the
hold on, Tarek.
one sec. What was the total
He-
number?
he
I'm
a-
not letting him get
he-
away with this.
well,
What was the total?
Tarek.
They even referred to it as an execution. It was like the greatest shit ever.
But he
like,
did
in
ask
terms of
a
just-
direct question, Tarek. He asked a direct question here. Let's kind of answer that question, then you can go to your next
Sorry,
part.
what was the question again?
We agree that the two administrations are going about the deportations in a different way, so it's okay to be mad when one administration does it and not when the other one does it, right?
Sure, you can justify saying that you're upset or whatever.
Okay, so the appeals to Barack Obama are probably falling on deaf
to my
ears.
main question, you're talking about how many deaths was it in terms of the bomber? What were you doing with comparison with like deaths in the ICE facilities? What was the total numbers?
Yeah. Total numbers, it depends on what year you're talking about. I'm saying that last year there was 32 deaths in ICE detention. The last time we got to 32 was 2004. Right, so just in 1 year
Yeah.
of the Trump administration, we saw a 20-year high.
So
Right, the comparable
we're
numbers from
talking about,
Obama
a
was
difference of
like
20 people.
9, 5, 9, 6, 7. Yeah, I mean, you can look these numbers up.
Yeah, and so like how many people died in Israel on the October 7th
Oh.
massacre?
Probably a lot. This is a nice
so
debate,
you
I
have
thought.
no idea. This is this first world bullshit where it's like, oh my god, we went from 12 deaths in
Oh, we're
the
talking about
ICE
ICE.
cities to 32, difference of 20 people. But like,
Wait,
the-
Terry,
like when
what
you
do you
talk
think
about
my
like
argument was
actual
gonna
oppression,
be?
when you talk about actual like literally like tyranny and fucking like all out just
Terry,
like
why
like,
would I
like
why would I
pure
bring up
evil,
deaths as a part? Why would I
massacre
bring
and
up
shit.
October 7th?
It's
Why would I bring up
far worse. So it's like this whole thing of like
Why would I
us
bring
being
up October
oppressed. It's
7th
like,
All right, all right.
in an
Hold on,
ICE
hold on.
debate?
the difference of
What is the
20 people
relevance?
died.
Hold on, hold on,
Oh
hold
my
on.
God.
I don't want to sway to October 7th or Israel right now. I think that's kind
agree.
of a minimal thing that
I'm,
has
no,
to do
I'm
with
trying to put,
the
I'm
ICE
trying to
rates,
put it
but-
in perspective. I'm trying to give the audience like perspectives.
This is
Like
an
they're
ice
trying to say that
debate,
this is an unbelievable. This is a crisis of a thing. But it's like when you look at the actual things within one day, how many people died in that one conflict? How many people have died within one day of when the Russian Ukraine thing
I
kicked
didn't
off?
come prepared
You know
to talk about October 7th. I came to say
I mean,
this is an
they-
ICE
they-
debate,
like,
right?
this whole
Where
thing
I'm
of like we're being
demonstrating the ways
oppressed
that they treat
in like the
immigrants
most
different
like
between the Trump administration
luxurious
and the
fucking like
Obama
first world
administration.
problems.
Okay, all right,
Karen,
all
like,
right,
you
all right.
sound like a wine mom, bro.
All right. I want to wind it back to the footage that happened with Alex Purdy about kicking the tail light and everything like that, etc. I want to sway to the debate here. Was Alex Purdy justified with the shooting, or was it a bad shooting? Let's shoot it out to that. Let's shoot it out to Dylan. Go ahead and make your argument. Was this a bad shooting, good shooting, neutral, etc.? Dylan, we'll shoot it out to you. Tyler, you got the response afterwards.
I gotta take 1 second. I'll be right back.
Okay, Teriak, you have the response afterwards. Dylan, go ahead, man. You're muted, bro. You're muted. You're still muted, bro.
I don't
There
know
you
what I muted. I don't remember muting myself. I must have been disobeyed or something.
Yeah, I don't know what happened there, man. But yeah, let's get your thoughts on whether it was a good shooting or a bad shooting.
No, it was a terrible shooting. Those cops kind of, I mean, if you want my blunt opinion, I think
Yeah.
the cops were trigger happy. I think that they were overly aggressive. I think they were obviously pissed, maybe overworked, frustrated, but none of it really justified the behavior they showed that day. They didn't really show the restraint that a police officer or any law enforcement officer should show.
Okay, all right. Teriak, what's your thoughts on the shooting here? Do you agree, disagree with that?
Yeah, so again, I'm a leprechaun. We don't even have guns, right? But again, like this whole thing of like they have so much empathy for people who were literally like kicking taillights out. Like they're seeking out the fight. They're looking for trouble. These are the individuals that they have so much fucking empathy for. When it comes to like an actual like the average police officer who puts their life on the line every day going into that fray, that these people literally view them as fucking Nazis, even though they're their own countrymen. You know what I mean? Who is even willing to put up with that amount of shit? Like you talk about like these service workers, they work in retail and all this kind of shit. Oh, I have to do customer service. Try and do a fucking one night trolling those streets. When you view them, they view you as the devil. You're the Nazi. See how it happens. See how safe you feel. See how quote unquote trigger happy you are.
Does
You know what I
Dusty
mean?
usually
when-
solve
when-
police
not take the
officers?
job.
when you analyze the footage, the whole fact that he interjected, like why is he even there in the first place? These are Obama's own words. These are Hillary Clinton's own words. This whole thing of like rhetoric, like Trump is not the one that's like locking the actual physical criminals up himself. You're trying to act like this is an isolated event and we're all radicals when it's clear yous are the one that have shifted so far over the other side you don't even recognize your own countrymen anymore.
Okay,
So-
ring
The
y'all.
reason I don't recognize my countrymen is because my countrymen don't respect the Fourth Amendment or constitutional rights. Then they're not my countrymen.
you
I don't
became more
see them
radical.
physically as my countrymen.
No.
If they don't
Yeah,
respect
and
the
you
foundational
became more
doctrines
radical. Say it.
that
You
we
became
share.
more
That's
radical.
not radical. I'm radical the way George Washington was radical.
You
I guess. I'm
moved
radical
more
the way
radical.
Thomas Jefferson was or Ben Frank was. Okay, maybe that's
Yeah,
difficult
and
for the
you
Irishman
took
to
the step
understand.
away because it was
But-
Hillary Clinton and
Well, no,
Barack
they-
Obama
they
that
took-
were reading
no,
off the
they
same
took the
script that
step
Trump's
away.
reading off right now.
The day you
But
keep
ICE
talking about him
took
kicking
the step
car,
away.
And you're
that
not
was
happy
13
with-
days before
you're
the
not happy
shot.
with your
How
own
can you use that
Democrats?
as evidence
Okay.
for a
You
shooting?
hate
If
your
I
own
committed
country.
a crime
Okay,
13
hold on,
days
Terry.
and an officer came and shot me 13 days later, that's not justification for shooting me 13 days later. I don't care if he kicked the taillights out. I don't care if he pissed on the car. If it was days later, the officer doesn't need to shoot him in relation to that. And why is he there? He's there because it's Minneapolis. It's his town. Why is the ICE officers there?
Well, look real quick. I do believe that he
Why
was
is
there
the
because
security at a nightclub?
the police never arrested him, put him in jail. But I do want to get to this. Rinyald, let me ask you this, and let's kind of go with the debate here, guys. Rinyald, give me your opinion. about the shooting specifically. If it was unjustified with the ICE agents, do they belong in prison? Who's at fault here? Is it Donald Trump or is it the state of Minneapolis that didn't actually put Alex Purdy in jail that would have avoided this situation in the first place?
Yeah, the legal standards. I mean, I'm not a lawyer.
Yeah.
I'm not an expert on self-defense rights. I don't know. So for that reason, I'm not going to say that the ICE officer deserves to be in jail, and I don't know if I'd ever say that. I think it was an unjustified shoot. I don't see a reason why you needed to load off into this guy's back, especially when his gun was already deholstered. I just don't see any justification for it. As to where the blame lies, I just feel like the ICE officers probably shouldn't have been there. I don't see the reason that they have been there. It hasn't been demonstrated to me why we need these mass deportations. Whether or not Freddie should have been in jail for kicking a taillight off, I don't know. I don't know if it was referred to the people, if it was being investigated, who knows. But I mean, at the end of the day, there could be multiple things contributing to something, but I mean, that doesn't make the killing of this person any more just.
Okay, fair enough on that. Tyler, I want you to respond to that. As far as the justification of the ICE shooting, was it a good kill? Was it a bad kill? And who's at fault here? Is it the state of Minneapolis or is it Donald Trump and his ICE agents?
On the level of morality, I would say that it is probably not the best and ideal outcome for anybody, including the officers involved in it. I don't think any of them wanted that to happen, but it's lawful but awful, as I was saying earlier. Lawfully, I think they have court precedent backing them all the way. Now, Rino, the reason why this is happening is because it's the law. We are compelled morally to uphold the law. Donald Trump ran on mass deportations. It was arguably the second biggest issue of the election cycle.
Well, the problem is that when, like, please just forgive me. When I hear conservatives or I guess former liberals say that it's just in service of like enforcing the law, I kind of feel like it's laughable whenever we elect somebody like Donald Trump to do it, right? When they're violating people's Fourth Amendment rights, 14th Amendment rights, Fifth Amendment rights, but all of a sudden the only, law that matters anymore is the Second Amendment and, well, maybe not even the Second Amendment anymore, but like just the INA. Like I'm just like super like, if it was just enforcing the law, you probably wouldn't have elected Donald Trump. You probably would have left him by the time that he deported that person in violation of his withholding order. Probably would have left him whenever he signed the Alien Enemies Act to rob people of their due process rights. Probably would have left him when he sent a bunch of people to CCOT. You probably would have left him when the ICE memo leaked about, the administrative warrant stuff. Like, in terms of like deportations, I don't know why we violate the Constitution in order to enforce the INA.
The only time that it's ever been proven by the courts, when it got to the end, there's been a lot of challenges by district courts that are being overruled by appeals courts, by being overruled by SCOTUS. The only time we saw that the Trump administration was actually violating anybody's rights was when they deported 300 people on 3 different planes to CESCOT, and that was the use of the AEA.
CESCOT.
Yeah, thank you. And what happened there was they said you can't give them 2 to 3 days like you're giving to file for an appeal. You have to give them 2 weeks. The Trump administration said okay, and that was the end of it. They're still using the Alien Enemies Act. They just want a case.
That's not true. That's not true.
They just want a case. They're still
it wasn't the court didn't say, oh, you're not providing them with the 2 to 3 days of notice that they need. The problem is that the notice that they were given was none. These people on the plane asked to talk to their lawyers, and then they said, oh, you will, and then they shipped them out the same night. Right? This wasn't 2 to 3 days. This was 2 to 3 minutes.
They were under the premises that since they were labeled a domestic terrorist group, that they didn't have to give them the same amount of time that they give a normal criminal. The court said no, and they stopped.
They didn't have any time. They didn't have any time.
Every other claim about people's rights being violated has yet to be adjudicated by the court. So right now,
the Alien Enemies class never had any ability to file for habeas corpus, like the Trump administration conceded in court that they have the ability to do. There was never any opportunity. They never got to talk to the lawyers. The lawyers didn't know what district they were being held in. It wasn't a case of.
I read the oral arguments. Amy Coney Barrett straight up said you're giving these people 2 to 3 days at best, and you have to give them at least 2 weeks. And the administration
but that's not even the case. They weren't even being given that much time, and they weren't being given the ability to. Right? If you need to file for habeas corpus in the district that you're being held, and they're not telling the lawyers where the district in which their client is being held, how are you supposed to file for habeas corpus?
This is what they said in the actual transcript. That Amy Coney Barrett said it herself. You're giving them 2 to 3 days at best. So the at best means that you could be right about some of them. Other ones I could be right about as well. But the Trump administration agreed and started doing it, and that's the only time they have been proven to be violating someone's rights. Every other claim has been dismissed by appeals courts or Supreme Courts.
I'm fairly familiar with these cases. I'm pretty sure you're getting your cases mixed up because there were two things on the Alien Enemies Act, right? There was AAUP versus Trump and there was JGG versus Trump. I'm pretty sure the one that litigated time to appeal was AAUP, which was after JGG. So what happened is they tried to fly these people out on the planes. The Supreme Court struck them down. And then they tried to fly out even more people on planes, saying that 2 days was enough to actually file for any sort of legal relief. And then they got struck down again.
Well, the first planes left. They were struck down on. They weren't allowed to fly those planes out there. That was the Boasberg case, and Boasberg's actually received one writ of mandamus, and he's currently in litigation to get a second writ of mandamus, which is the highest discipline you can do against a district court judge for ignoring the Supreme Court and
But you
still
understand
trying to
after
pursue the Trump
JGG,
administration. So if
after
anything,
JGG,
the
there was a
Trump
different
administration's
deal
rights
as well.
are being violated by district court judges significantly more than the Trump administration's violating illegal immigrants' rights.
You understand that JGG was kicked down because it was in the wrong district and then it got brought back up again in AEUP, and that was the one that litigated the amount of notice that was necessary, right? So
Yes,
that's two
yes,
different
yes.
cases. That's not one. And the
Boasberg,
JGG
yeah.
class,
I'm
the,
sorry.
the Coney Barrett quote that you're talking about is from the second one. So the first one, they weren't given any ability, right? There was no meaningful ability to actually file for any of this, and it was absolutely done in bad faith.
Yes, I understand that some of the people that you're talking about are correct. The other ones that were cited in the Supreme Court, she said 2 to 3 days at best. So some of those people could have had less than that. They could have been filling out immediately. Yes, they were doing something wrong. I'm admitting, yes, that's a violation of rights.
Well, like with
Since
malice,
then, they
right?
Have not
So-
been doing it. They have been told it was wrong, and they stopped doing it, and they're continuing to use the
After
Alien
the-
Enemies
after
Act
the second
properly.
time.
So yes, that's
After the second time.
I'm
But to be
conceding
fair,
this
what we're-
point. I don't know.
but what we're
why you're still
establishing-
arguing it.
Well, because I feel like we're being incredibly like coddly to the Trump administration's opinion here. But regardless, like this is a case where you admit the Trump administration was acting with malice and robbing people of their rights. Why are we surprised that people are against ICE now?
I don't think it's with malice. Again, this is 0.01% of the deportations that happened, and it happened with narco-terrorist groups. It wasn't just regular
No,
people.
it was with who they alleged to be narco-terrorist groups. One of the things that needed to be litigated on appeal was whether or not they actually were a part of that case before you shipped them out on planes to a place where they would be tortured.
And they
Like,
admitted
this
they
is what
weren't
I'm
doing
talking-
Osama bin hairdresser wasn't real.
But this is what I'm talking about. One like the disingenuous arguments to it. It's like a lot of these like people like will have like influence in terms of politicians and like this whole like litigation and all this kind of shit. It's like if we have them in the place at the right time to get them, like this whole thing of like, well, you have to prove that they're the criminals. So well, let us detain them first at least.
The detention in this case, at least the case that me and Tyler are talking about, wasn't the problem. The problem was that they detained them, they deported them under a statute that hadn't even been announced, and they never gave them the ability to talk to lawyers.
And they
That's insane.
The Trump
Insanity.
administration admitted that they read it a different way. They thought this is how they took, because the administration, a president, the executive branch has the authority to interpret laws and things the way that they see it, and the courts are there to parse that out. To say it was malicious and done in bad faith,
Well, here's
is
the-
a little bit
here's
of
the
a
question, though.
I have to
wait,
one second.
wait,
Let me
can I
explain.
please ask
Let
a
me just
question?
explain.
Can I please
Let
ask
me
a
just
question,
explain.
please?
Let me just explain because I don't know if you're doing its intention or not, but like I'll just kind of clarify and make it simple for you. Is it possible for the Trump administration to make a mistake, or is it always nefarious? Is it always bad?
It is
faith?
possible for them to make a mistake, but the reason that this was nefarious is
Alhamdulillah.
because there's no world where you're complying with somebody's due process rights when you're putting them on a plane under a law that hasn't been invoked yet, and then you're not giving them the ability to talk to lawyers and you're shipped off in a day. Do you think that there's a good faith world where that's compliant with somebody's due process rights?
If you read the ruling in the law, and if you read again the Trump administration's lawyer defending this, yes, that is how they interpreted it, and I could read the law and give you a reasonable person's interpretation saying that's
Tyler,
correct.
I don't even know if you believe
Have you ever
that,
heard a
honestly.
Mormon
I
interpret the
absolutely
Bible?
I think they were
I don't even know
wrong,
what to
but
say
I
at
can
that
see how
point,
a
right?
reasonable
Like
person
base,
can
you're saying like
interpret it.
there's
Okay.
no way.
All right,
One sec,
guys.
Arnold, you're
I can't hear anybody
You're
here.
saying there is no way for like two people to have a different interpretation of a text. Can I introduce you to
No,
Protestantism?
that's not what I'm saying.
In some
clearly not
instances,
what I'm
it is
saying.
So it's
possible to have a
impossible. So
different
you're saying
interpretation of
it's
the text.
impossible for it to have been a mistake and it had to have been bad faith.
In this
and
case,
In some
yes.
instances, yes.
So, like, in this case, if you're saying, like, oh, I had a good faith interpretation that when I stabbed this person, the knife was going to miss all of their body and it was going to, like, molecularly fuse and not hit any of the cells and I was going to pull it out and there wasn't going to be a wound. That's my good faith interpretation, right? Like, no, that's not a good faith interpretation. Just because you make a statement, that doesn't mean it was made in good faith, right? There's no world where it's compliant with your due process rights to not let somebody talk to a lawyer, to deport you under a law that hadn't been enacted yet.
But that's the thing, is I'm reading off of what the Trump administration said. I don't know where you're getting this idea that you know what's going on inside their heads when their lawyer argued exactly what I'm telling you.
Because
Exactly.
that argument in no world can possibly comply with somebody's due process rights.
Yeah, it's
Their
impossible,
argument
bro.
was genuinely, just to be clear,
Impossible.
the argument that the Trump administration made was that these people have the right to file for habeas corpus, but I only need to give them a day. And even though you need to file for habeas corpus in the district that you're being held, we don't need to tell the lawyers where they're being held. That was their argument. And you're asking me if I think that that's good faith? Obviously, it's bad faith.
I mean, this is at the same exact time
Okay.
that Donald Trump was saying, and we only know this because of
This is
it
what I'm
was
saying,
leaked
it
off of a
always
mic.
ends in this-
Donald Trump
this
was looking for
bullshit.
ways to deport U.S. citizens to foreign prisons. He is perfectly comfortable violating U.S. law in order to do it. It's just a question of whether or not he can get a lawyer in there to buy him the time to do it. For example, do you agree with me, Tyler, that the President of the United States does not have sole tax authority, that he cannot come out and just put a tariff on anything at any time for any reason that he wants?
he's
That's what the
overreading
president,
IEPA.
the administration is doing by using emergency powers maliciously. You cannot tell me that every single time they placed a tariff on every single country, it was a national security emergency that had to be immediately addressed through the implication of tariffs, when sometimes those tariffs
Yeah.
are implicated because Trump gets offended.
Not all of the tariffs were based off of IEPA. There were several other tariffs that aren't based off of national security. Like when the Biden administration did a 100% tariff against China for EVs, there was nothing national emergency related about that. There's different laws that they use and come to different tariffs. So you're only talking about the reciprocal tariffs, and he's talking about the national emergency of our trade deficit, which he views as a national emergency. I don't like the emergency powers as much as anybody else, but they
If
are
Donald
what they
Trump,
are.
here's a question, and please, I want you to. I know you're good faith. If Donald Trump said his honor was a national emergency, because his honor, our country is based in his honor. He once said, in reference to a journalist saying, "Why do we need to own Greenland if we can have bases there anyway?" He said it's psychologically important. They said, "Why? For the country or for you?" And he said, "For me." So if he came out and said it's psychologically important that we place this tariff of national security, psychological importance, could we just say, sure, we're just going to run with that for years. We're going to say that's okay, and that has no maliciousness attached to it. At a
Hypothetically,
certain
we could
point,
have.
Tyler, that's naivety. That's naivety.
Hypothetically, we
Tyler.
could have, but there's a check on that. There's a check on presidential powers. And just like when he declared a fentanyl emergency on the Canadian border, the Senate came together in a bipartisan fashion and said there's no emergency there, voted the emergency away, and all of his tariff powers against Canada disappeared overnight because the Senate is the check on the presidential power because they allocated him that power to do temporary tariffs based off a certain criteria. He can't unilaterally apply a tariff for any reason, no matter what. Yes, you're right. He might be overusing IEPA particularly, but it doesn't mean he doesn't have some power to delegate some tariffs on countries.
Wait, but
without
having
congressional
some
approval.
power does not mean you can interpret that some power to be unilateral power, which is how he's interpreted it and how he
And
has
that's for the
used it.
courts to parse out. That's exactly what they're doing right now with the IEPA
That doesn't mean
case.
we can't. We have to stay in like. We need to stay in our little bubble saying, oh, well, it might be malicious, might not be malicious, when we can see it's malicious, that there's no honest interpretation that one can make to say,
Malicious
yes,
and
the
different
president has full
interpretations.
tariff authority.
Now, malicious and different interpretations are one thing. If he's interpreting it in a way that's incorrect, that's not the same as being malicious. If he's interpreting it improperly, you have to prove malicious intent. That's a very high standard to do.
He's
Like,
interpreting it in a way that allows him to act in that manner. That's always how he has used his lawyers.
Okay, I understand.
I mean, this is
that,
just
but it could just be bad faith
this is an
reasoning,
argument
bad
that you
faith-
could make for any violation of the law,
One
saying
sec,
that, oh, I
one
just
sec,
interpreted
one
it
sec, one sec, one
differently.
sec.
Yes, like when Biden tried
this-
different student loans multiple times, he got slapped down in the courts after saying, "I can't do this. I don't have the power to
Do you
give
think-
the student
wait,
loans." And
Tyler.
tried 9 times anyways. I could say that's malicious, but I'm not because that's his responsibility as the executive.
Do you think that's as malicious as the Trump administration's claim to giving people habeas corpus rights, even though they can't do it in the district?
I don't think there was maliciousness. I think they read the law a certain way, and if you read what the lawyers
I'm saying,
said,
do you think they're equal levels of maliciousness?
No, I don't think they're either of them are malicious at all.
Not at all.
No, I think you need to prove maliciousness. It's just assuming it. You're mind reading and branding. Maliciousness
If you're giving
is
something
a
the-
charge that you can prove in courts. It has a defined terminology in the courts, and it has not been proven.
I mean, if you're saying that you have the right to something in my house, but I'm not going to let you in my house, then you don't truly have the right to get the thing in my house, right? Like, if you have the right to habeas corpus, but your lawyer can't know where you're being held, then you don't actually really have the right to habeas corpus, right?
Again, it's not their responsibility to inform the lawyers in their mind. They were incorrect about that, but that doesn't necessarily imply malicious. Again, maliciousness and reading a law improperly are not the same thing. Otherwise, you could argue Biden maliciously abused his parole authority because he knew better. Biden maliciously abused the laws when he tried student loan forgiveness 9 times under different laws. Biden maliciously ignored the Congress when he created an illegal visa program and bypassing congressional approval to allocate money to where it wasn't supposed to be. All these things were done. I am saying none of them are malicious until you can prove maliciousness.
They
I
could
feel-
be
I feel like
malicious whether or
Laura's
not
the
you can
best.
prove it. We're just saying that the evidence points more clearly to maliciousness rather than legal.
If you want to
legally.
speculate, that's fine. Just say you're speculating. Don't
Yeah.
say it is this. I'm perfectly fine with you speculating it.
Well,
Now,
malicious,
they-
I'm not even using it like a moral. I'm not using it like a legal
everybody has
term.
one.
Well, maliciousness
Yeah.
is a legal term in this instance. If you're saying they're doing it maliciously and the judges side with them, then you are somewhat saying that it is legally done.
Sure. So when I say maliciously, I mean he's doing this. He's giving this right in court, even though he doesn't actually meaningfully want to give these people this right.
I don't know what he thinks, but I see that
Who knows?
they interpreted it that way. They brought it to the courts, as is their right to do. Every president has this right to interpret the laws a certain way. What the Supreme Court says, what Kavanaugh says, what Gorsuch says, people that have ruled against Trump in 6-3 against putting National Guard in Chicago said the president has the right to interpret laws, and it's up to Congress to write the laws more clearly if they leave this interpretation open. We saw this
These
with the
interpretations
Electoral
aren't
Count
infinite,
Act.
though.
The Electoral Count Act was the exact same
Oh
way.
no, that's like the worst example,
It's the
Tyler.
best example, I think.
Actually, that's a pretty good example when you're interpreting laws here, because you guys are saying you guys literally say you 100% believe that Donald Trump's being malicious on this particular situation. Why is it that you're going about it to where interpretations of laws or interpretations of whatever you're reading could be interpreted in different ways depending on whether you're right-wing brained or left-wing brained? Why would you come to the conclusion that it's 100% malicious on the Donald Trump administration?
Because
It-
I don't
it's
think this is a
rubber
right
stamp.
wing. I don't think this is a right wing, left wing problem. I don't think it takes a left wing person to see that somebody has the right to habeas corpus, which dictates that you know what district you're in, but you don't have a right to know what district you're in. Like that just logically doesn't make sense. I don't think that's a left right paradigm. I think that's just an obvious paradigm, right? In the same way that there's no world where the Electoral Count Act gives the vice president to just choose the winner of the election, right? There's no world where that's a valid interpretation. But right now, any like malicious violation of a law could just say, "Oh, well, it was a different interpretation," and just hand wave it away, right?
So,
like
are
it's
they
not it's not an
compelled-
interpretation of a murder statute to say, "I thought I could stab the guy because I hated him," right? And that's my interpretation of the murder statute. So you can't hold me accountable because
Were they legally
I have the right to
compelled?
interpret law, right?
Are they legally compelled under the AEA to inform the lawyers? And the answer to that is no. Just like Minnesota is not legally compelled to enforce the federal law and get the illegals in their state out. So I could say that Tim Walz is acting maliciously by ignoring federal laws, but I'm not, because that's a standard that's not proven yet. He's
I'm
acting
saying
in a
if-
way that his party believes.
If you're saying
They
that
used
you have the
emotionally
right to do
charged language, and
something,
that's why
but
I'm
there's a
here, to prevent this whole moral bullshit that you tried to do, where it's like they start referring to it as an execution, all this kind of shit. So again, like this whole thing where it's like, well, technically in the letter of the law and all this kind of shit, why is the anti-ICE there to begin with?
because ICE
There's
is
people from
violating
out of
people's
state. Yeah, there's
rights.
people from out of state that they're to quote unquote protest, which like we've seen from
Because
Don
ICE is
Lemon,
violating
was
people's
was
rights all around the
was
country.
storming
That's
in-
why.
Was Alex out of
was-
state?
One sec. Was storming into churches. How in God's green earth is that going to achieve anything? Please
No one is
explain that
supporting the
question.
people who
Out of
stormed the
state.
church.
Renee
How,
Killed
Nobody's
how,
was
supporting
one
that.
sec, one sec.
Nobody
How is,
killed was
how
out
is
of
storming
state.
a church? How is storming a church
Tarek, nobody's supporting
going to
storming the
solve
church.
immigration process?
Well,
Nobody's
let me ask.
supporting that.
Okay, great. So that is a problem though in Minnesota. Those
Yes,
individuals,
just like,
that's a
just
problem.
like it's a problem that
So
the Trump
what are we
administration is
going to do
violating
about
people's
those
constitutional
individuals that
rights. They're
keep
both
storming?
problems, yeah.
One sec. What are we going to do about those individuals that keep storming into these things and don't have an issue of using violence or threatening
Hit him with a
behavior?
conspiracy charge, all right? I support that's a conspiracy charge. I think that's
Well,
fine.
Okay, so we have to
Reno,
send
Don
federal
Lemon.
agents after them. One sec. Reinhold, you're in favor of sending federal agents after them, correct?
Yeah, if you're
Yeah, okay,
engaging in
great. So
conspiracy
because
against
you're in
rights-
favor of sending federal agents after them, a risk is that there may be a death, correct?
correct,
And although there's a risk, you should still do it, correct?
correct.
Ergo, Trump is
Now let's weigh
justified.
the
Alhamdulillah.
let's weigh the two, right? So in this
Yeah.
case,
You
I
just
think it's
conceded,
fine
bro.
to send federal. I didn't. I was talking about the people who invaded the church, right? I think it's fine to send federal agents into people.
No, you said
who
that
engage in a
death is
conspiracy
a
against rights.
possibility
I
from
think
what
that's
needs to
fine.
be done. Death is a possibility
Uh-huh.
of what needs to be done. Which
Yeah,
is
so my counter
in terms
argument
of
is
Alex
that
Preddy,
ICE
in
raids
terms of
don't
it's
need to be done, right?
justified.
You need to justify the ICE raids, right? That's what I'm saying.
No,
Those
sorry,
ICE raids are not
sorry.
justified.
Yeah,
You haven't demonstrated
in
that those
terms of-
need to
in
be
terms of
done.
what
That's
needs-
the
in terms of
subject.
what- yeah, and what terms it needs to be done is you need to deport these criminals, all this kind of shit, and in terms of the other references as well. In
Yeah, I'm
terms of the
asking
church,
you
all
for
kinds
that
of- you-
justification.
you
Why do we need to
yeah.
deport the illegals? That's the question that
It's the
that's the
law.
real question,
Yeah,
right?
no.
Morally
What I'm saying is that
compelled to
it's
uphold
the exactly.
If you're morally
compelled,
compelled to uphold the
one sec.
law, why did you elect Donald Trump?
Hold on,
in terms
guys.
of, like you admitted,
That's a weak
when you have to do what's right, with like to do the law, a risk of that is there may be death. So the people who are actual guilty and people who are not related to it should stay the fuck out of it. They shouldn't be traveling multiple states to go and quote unquote protest, to show up in church kind of type behavior. That's what they're. That's an
enforcing the
example
law-
of this quote unquote what they say protest. This is why I say you have to be very careful in the language that Dylan and Reinhold are using. They're saying execution, they're saying justification, all this kind of stuff. And when
Clear,
you
I
look at
said
what the
that, not him.
behavior of these protesters, they're storming churches, they're doing crazy shit. So in terms of like this whole thing, you have to send in the troops at that stage. These people are crazy.
Can I
Enforcing
ask
the law is not a blanket like that, but
I was going to ask Reynald and Dylan. I have to direct this to y'all. Teriak brought up about the storming of the churches, that it was specifically Don Lemon who recently got arrested for that situation. What's y'all's takes on that? Do you believe Don Lemon actually belongs in jail for what had happened over there?
Is
at
that
the
how his
church?
name's actually pronounced? Is it Don?
It's
Lemon?
the Don Lemon or Lemon. He pronounced it Lemon because it's French, I guess. Sounds more fancier. Don Lemon, Don Lemon, whatever you want to call him.
Like
Do you
Juicy
believe that's
Sommelier.
justified, that under the FACE Act he should be, thrown in jail, whatever the case is?
Don Lemon, no. The rest of them, yeah.
The rest of them, yes. Dylan.
I don't think Don Lemon should be put in jail. The rest of them, you could make a much better case. Him, no. I think he was operating as a journalist. I've listened to these justifications as like, oh well, he didn't tell the cops that it was going to happen in advance when he had prior knowledge. Yeah, that's how a journalist works. I'm not like if I was to go report with any military embed or do any embed, I can't tell people, hey, this is what we're about to do today. If I want to film a protest happening, I have to be a silent party there. But that also means I can't participate. It means I can't go in there and start saying no KKK, no fascist USA, or I would literally have to be basically a silent fly on the wall. And as far as I could tell, when he was asked to leave, he left 7 minutes later. So I don't really see the necessary to bring it on him. The rest of them, I think there's a better case, but this is also not the only instance of this happening. I know of some instances where there's like anytime there's like a gay pastor, sometimes there'll be some like people who come in and like heckle them and like this is wrong, and they'll wait till the session's over and that's all probably solved by just getting them out. And that's probably nobody really needs to be put in jail, but it is illegal. And if you continue to persist and do not comply and do not leave, you can be charged.
Okay.
The thing that kind of reinforced the
So-
fact that you could probably charge them is that like there's allegations of them like blocking doorways and stuff and preventing people from leaving. So I think that escalates it to a certain level. But
Yeah, so
Okay.
again, like I said, I would beg of you as an outsider to look at your fellow countrymen, right? Look at the behavior. You have one group that is literally going into a church service, people who were just praying because the dude is suspected of vice, and then you have this impossible standard where you say they shouldn't mask up. Well, if they're literally going to start disrupting church for everybody because I'm doing something with ICE, like I have to wear a mask. So this is why I'm saying
No.
you have to be fair. You're not
Why?
being
That
fair
isn't
here.
fair. I mean, like,
If I
nobody
don't wear a mask, people are
going
gonna
to
go into church?
mask. The soldiers have done like national security work
Disrupt the
before.
church.
Literally,
One sec.
troops on the street.
If you
Did any of the
have
soldiers
an
at
issue,
Kent
one
State
sec.
wear
Hold on.
masks?
One sec.
They
One sec.
killed
And this
people. That was the national, like,
this
they wear
exposes.
masks.
Okay,
the
guys,
pussy
I can't
behavior.
hear. I
just
can't
don't
hear both of y'all at the
understand
same
why
time.
ICE gets special protection compared to every other
Yeah.
police officer.
It's not
or law
special
enforcement
protection.
official in the country.
It's to save your identity, because in those neighborhoods, people will find out where you are and they will disrupt your church service. So why are you disrupting the church for everybody because you have an issue with me? If you have an issue
Okay,
with
and
me,
those
take it
people
up with
who
me in my
charge
own
have
fucking
to-
time.
that
Don't be
is
interrupting
masked
people.
men to enforce the
Worshiping
holiday.
God.
Hold on. Okay.
If a masked man comes up to
Atheist
me
heathens,
and points a gun at me and says anything, my first
Y'all need
assumption is,
Jesus.
oh, maybe they're MS-13,
Real.
maybe they're a gang member. I don't know. I don't know who that is.
Okay,
no,
Tyler-
there's
Disrupting
like
the
a public
church, bro.
interest
That's
in-
one sec. That's one aspect, and like the other one just saying like we just want like this fraud to stop. There's like this mass immigration to act as though multiculturalism is a good thing, but if you define your culture as multiculturalism, you have no culture.
So I would say
So-
on this question that you're asking here, that generally it seems as though he could have violated the the SAVE Act, but
The FACE Act.
The
Act,
FACE
that's
Act.
it. But he was indicted by a grand jury. And that's
Well,
not something
yes.
that, like, the Trump administration just didn't make this decision and make it happen. They took it to a grand jury. Grand jury looked at the totality of evidence of him saying he was coordinating with the people that were
After
going
it was
to
thrown
commit
out
crimes.
twice.
Yeah,
He
well,
tried it in a Minnesota court, then they appealed it, then it was thrown out, then he went to Cali, it didn't there.
Yeah, he did it in front of a grand jury. The grand jury said yes, so I will see what plays out. But I'm under the presumption he is innocent until proven guilty. I'm thinking they probably have a chance to make this happen, but I don't want to call him a criminal until we actually have proof to call him a criminal. I want to hold everybody to the same standard. So I would say that he probably shouldn't have been in there. It looks like he was coordinating, but he is still innocent in the eyes of the law until he's proven guilty. We will see what happens.
But here's the question: when we take coordination, if he's planning it, that's one thing. But if he's planning to film it, that's a different thing, right? If all we found the coordination is where can I get the best angle or something like that, are we gonna say, oh, that's criminal conspiracy to commit a crime, or is that you're doing your job as a journalist?
I hate to take this to this completely different place here, but all the people that were journalists that entered Israel on October 7th definitely should have been locked up.
I
All the
understand.
people that
Look, a
went
lot
to
of
the
people
Capitol
blur that. A
on
lot of people
January
blur that
6th.
label. Nick Shirley's
I
one
love
of
it.
them. There's
Shalom,
a lot of people
brother,
blur the
shalom.
label between activists and journalists. I'm one of those people who somewhat blur that label. But at the end of the day, if he's performing his role as a journalist in that moment,
Okay.
what can you say?
Dylan, let me give you the
We'll
olive
see what
branch.
the grand
Let me
jury
give you
says.
the olive branch, Dylan, right? If I grant you, okay, I'll give you Don Lemon off and all that stuff, but the rest of those motherfuckers, like we need to lock up all those like anti-ICE protesters for that shit.
I think they could
All
face charges
anti-ICE
for it. I don't
protesters
know
or
if
just
they
the people
should.
who went into the church?
There we
5 years
go.
of some
Yeah,
crazy stuff. Do they face charges?
actually,
No.
it was like justifying all this kind of shit because you don't get to interfere with the religious
free.
expression.
Oh,
Tyriak, are
That's
you saying
First
just
Amendment
the-
shit.
Are you saying just the people who entered the church, or like all people who protest ICE?
That type of behavior, like kicking federal agents' fucking lights out.
Oh yeah, lock them up.
Storming churches.
That's
Lock
fine.
them up. Okay, so you have to send in the troops to that. So there is a justification.
You don't
for ICE,
have
which
to
people,
means
that's not the
a
immigrants.
risk of
Yes.
sending in ICE or sending in any
No,
high-ranking.
this is just a misunderstanding, right? ICE
military
doesn't
or
arrest
police
people
force, you want
for.
to say.
ICE doesn't arrest people
you've
for
already
that
admitted
stuff.
that
It's
a
not
risk
ICE.
of that. Yeah,
That's
you already
not
admitted
ICE.
that a risk of that is
ICE
you're
doesn't
going to
do
have
that.
potential fallout. You're going to have people that
ICE
will
doesn't
die
do that.
inevitably.
ICE doesn't do that. ICE doesn't do those kind of arrests. That's not what ICE does.
No, I'm saying like anything. You send National Guard, like whatever military, whatever level it goes to. It is
we're-
like
Yeah,
that.
you
You,
have
you already
police
admitted.
enforced crime,
One
yeah.
sec, listen to what I'm saying. You already admitted the potential risk of doing that, and you already said it was just justified to do that because there are people storming churches
There's
and doing
different
wacko shit.
justifications for enforcing different
Yeah,
laws.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, you can try go to statistics. I'm just saying in the big picture, in terms of the morality, in terms of justification, it's clear that ICE is justified, and a potential risk to that is
No,
people
not ICE.
will lose their lives. One sec, there will be tragic. I can even grant you that the whole Alex Petty thing was a tragedy, but the dude was like looking
We
for
keep
trouble.
shifting the questions.
But
You've asked
these
me like
people are
five
no,
different
because
questions.
you're
I think that
ignoring.
if you
No,
attack
you're ignoring the
law
big.
enforcement officer, you
You're
should get
ignoring the
arrested.
big group that like Alex was a part of. The
You're ignoring
behavior
the
of that
big group
group.
of the Trump
You're ignoring that group
administration.
and saying all the fallout of that group is completely on ICE. That's what you're doing, and it's unfair.
I'm saying that inflaming the public is going to cause the public to be inflamed. Yes.
Between inflaming the public. These are the words of Hillary Clinton. Was Hillary Clinton inflaming the public in 2008? Was Barack Obama inflaming the public in 2010? No,
No.
because he was our guy. He was a
No,
Democrat.
when Donald Trump is saying that they're like poisoning the blood of Americans and talking
I
about
was
crime
7.
rates and saying that a bunch of people who came across the border with protected status are illegal immigrants and saying that there's like 5 billion immigrants in the country. That's what inflames the people. Sending all these ICE raids, federalizing the National Guard,
Yeah,
that
because you
inflames
expect
people.
perfection. Because you expect perfection. You expect Trump
No, I
to be
expect
100% on
competence.
everything. And then, like I said, no, one sec. And then we cue fucking Joe Biden falling up a flight of stairs. I don't even know how we
I
were
would
able
rather-
to fucking do that.
Hey, listen,
to
I
fall
would
up a
rather-
flight of stairs.
Okay.
And then
I
it's
would
like,
rather my
Trump,
president-
Trump is not being
I would
very
much rather-
specific and 100%
swear,
to the
I would-
law in this country.
Yes,
Can you
I
see
would-
the
I would much
ridiculous
rather-
standard that these people do?
Yeah,
it
here's my
drives
standard.
one
I would rather
bonkers.
my president
Holy
fall
shit.
upstairs than shoot somebody in the face. Yeah, that is my standard. I would rather someone fall up the
Okay,
stairs. than
who
kill a
did
person.
Trump?
Yeah,
Who did Trump?
I'll
Yeah, who
bite
did
that bullet
Trump
for
shoot
you.
in the face? Who did Trump shoot in the face?
I don't know.
Exactly.
Who knows what I'm talking
Exactly.
about? But yeah, I know the metaphor of what you're speaking about. How like I can murder somebody in broad daylight and people will still support me. I think that's where you're alluding to. But I want to get back to this. You guys went back to because he brought up the church situation here. I want to get y'all's opinion. But you were talking about Don Lemon shouldn't probably be in jail. However, we do know, and it's footage here. I'm not trying to get into the debate, but I am saying that Don Lemon did have premeditated knowledge that that particular group of people were going to go into the church. Okay, so my argument would be if he had premeditated knowledge that they were going to go into that church and cause a ruckus, he literally gave them Starbucks, stuff like that. It seemed like he was part of the activism at the time with these videos, what I was looking at. So if you want to make the argument that he was just doing journalism, therefore he shouldn't be charged under the FACE Act and the other people should be, it kind of seems like because he already knew that a crime was going to happen and instead he's just saying, well, I'm just going to go in there and just document it. It would be similar to somebody that knew that a robbery was going to happen and that these group of people were going to rob the bank, and he knew about it, and he gave them Starbucks. Then he went into the bank and filmed it. Wouldn't you say that that would still be a crime under the
there's
same
a-
section?
I might take the radical
I-
position, but I think someone
Okay.
should be able to do that, by the way. If somebody
Really?
knows robbery is going to happen and they're a journalist, they should be able to film the whole robbery and not be charged. But that's
Really?
not because I want
There's
to
some
do that.
important-
I
Well,
wanna
you're
film
a
with the
Dylan, you
cartels.
are-
I want
you-
to film with terrorist groups. I want
Yeah.
to film with everything that's possible to film with because I think it's important to film
So,
all of
so
it.
one sec,
right?
Dylan,
There's
one
a bunch
sec,
of
Dylan.
important-
So one
So
sec,
that's-
one sec,
that is
Dylan, one sec,
radical.
one
That is
sec,
radical.
One sec,
Point
Dylan.
before-
One sec.
before I get
You're
everybody
not
else on
gonna
my
run from this.
penis,
You're
before
not
everybody
gonna run
gets
from
on
this,
my
Dylan.
cock.
You're not gonna.
Everybody get on my
Why are
penis,
you
please,
running?
for a
Hold
second.
on,
Let me finish my point.
Tarek.
Yeah,
Hold
Dylan.
on. Let
So
Dylan
would you
finish.
say- No, I just want to clarify, just clarification real quick. Would
Okay.
you say if everyone on January 6th declared himself as a journalist, that it would have been legal?
I think if somebody was to go in there and really be able to show that they were just working as a journalist and nothing else, then I don't think they should be charged.
But like, let's say they got charged anyway,
But there's also a
and
question
all
of,
the
like,
rights was
if you go
violated.
into
One
the
sec,
Capitol building,
and
wait,
all the
wait,
rights were
finish.
violated
I was
anyway.
at
Would you
J6.
say?
I was there? Okay. If you
Oh
go into
my
that
God.
Capitol building and you film some of that like classified shit, or you film something on somebody's desk that you're not allowed to show, you could be charged with that even if you were still working as
Yeah,
a journalist.
complete-
So all these
complete
people
red
ended up
herring.
getting caught up by either that or caught up with directly participating. But if you're just a journalist, you should be free to go.
Yeah, so I heavily suggest you actually look into it because, like I said, I was going to give you the hypothetical that if someone was actually just there, just filming the event, and they weren't there with any other tent, they were just literally just filming all the crazy shit that was going on. They didn't even enter the building. If those rights were still violated, and they were locked up straight away. Would you say that's not necessarily a Trump issue? That's actually an issue of the system.
I was there. I filmed. I didn't get arrested. My footage is public and uploaded somewhere.
No, I'm
so
saying
on some
if.
archive site.
I'm just saying if. You see the way
If
you can't
what?
even commit yourself to a conditional right
I
now.
can't, dude,
because
you're
you
actually trying
know,
to be honest
you
and
know
don't
that
have the
someone's
fucking
gonna
words to
dig
say,
up some
man. You gotta
shit
repeat
of
it.
an actual case of some dude who literally
What
was
the
just there filming, who got all his rights violated, which is the same thing that happened under a Biden administration. So, like I said, I'm pointing to something
Who?
where it's a system problem, not an individual problem. But you've trumped the arrangement system, so whatever Trump does is bad. Even though this is
Jake
actually not
Clark, can you
purpose,
translate for him,
because
man? I need,
you
like,
want
an
to,
Irish
you want to.
translator.
Oh my God! See what I'm saying?
Okay.
what I'm
Filthy
saying?
fucking foreign. Terry, I'm going to deport you too.
Yeah, but like, the funny thing is, Dylan wouldn't have said that to a black man. I'm just saying.
Bro. I just want to say there are some things
Dude, have
that
you heard
I
a
think kind
Baltimore
of
accent
Yeah.
before? Never mind.
I think there are some things that kind of alleviate Don
Well
Lemon, right?
standard,
Like
bro.
the fact that all of the people who were storming the church posted about it beforehand, right? There was like I don't remember what the specific flyer was, but one of the people, I read the indictment, one of the people posted a flyer saying that they were going to do some crazy shit, right? So like Don Lemon had reason outside of coordination to know about that. He didn't directly partake in anything. It seems
there
like all of his actions were explainable by journalistic intent rather than like intent to prevent somebody from worshiping their right or their god or whatever.
Was Don Lemon aware of those posts before?
I don't know if we have knowledge of that.
Okay.
Honestly, I will say, I think if he gave coffee and gave that might be what screws him. That's
That's what I was thinking too.
How are they
Yeah,
gonna break
that's
into
what
a church without the fuel? Yeah.
But I don't think. But I want to be clear: premeditation and the idea of him not pre-knowledge. I don't think that should be it. I think that's wrong. Because
Well,
in order to
Dylan-
work as a journalist, if you want to capture something from a perspective, the only way you can do it is with prior knowledge, without
Dylan-
going and telling
But
you.
But
there are
Dylan,
certainly-
you're
there are
making.
certainly certain
I'm sorry, I'm not going to get
times
involved
that-
in this debate.
Sorry, if I
Well,
was to do
just-
an embed
I'm
with the
sorry.
cartels, there's
I'm
no
saying they're
way for
running
me to
from
do it
arguments.
if I'm going to tell the
They're
cops.
debating the
every time you do a
moderator because
crime.
they can't debate me and Tyler. Because, like I said, me and
I'm-
Tyler's argument is
I've
locked
said
down.
all I
Because
need
Tyler
to.
has
No,
all the
I
facts.
just find it
That's
shocking of what
fine.
Dylan's saying
I
here.
can't debate you because
But
I can't understand you half the time.
I
But-
wanna
but-
get
can't
back
debate you.
to
I can debate
legality.
Tyler every day.
I want to get back to the legality of the pretty shooting,
Ad
so I'm
homs,
all
yeah.
done on Don Lemon.
okay, let's go, Tyler. You got the floor here. Go ahead and shoot back to circle back to the Alex Purdy
Yeah, the
show.
last thing I have notes for that you guys said that I took some umbrage with was that it was an execution. So Turner v. Driver is a civil case that sets the standard for what reasonable force is. There's been multiple cases when somebody is standing in the road. They're not only creating an exacerbated threat to the officers, but they're also impeding law enforcement. These two women walked up and impeded the vehicle by standing next to it. They are able to use the lowest level of force, which is open hand force, which is pushing. He told them to leave the road, so they were ignoring lawful orders, and then he pushed them out of the road since they were blocking cars, and they were not just ICE vehicles, but regular traffic as well, creating a more dangerous situation. So these people were pushed out of the road. When Pretty stepped in after that and put his hands on the officer, even if he meant to protect a woman, even if he had the greatest intent in the world, that is still assault on an officer, and that justifies him pulling out the mace and using it. The first gunshot, there's speculation it came from his gun misfiring. I don't think there's anything backing that until we get an investigation proving confirming that, but what we heard was gun, gun, gun. The gun was disarmed, and 0.6 seconds after the gun was taken off of him, the first shot rang out. There is no amount of time, or no situation where a reasonable person could not be told this because of the chaos of the situation and react accordingly after they hear gun. So even if the first shot did come from the officers, I could see the totality of the circumstances still letting all the officers that fired walk.
Okay, so being maced sucks. I don't know if anybody here has been maced, but it's not fun. And you can't tell anything is going on. Your eyes, you can't see out of them. It fills up your nose. It's a terrible experience, one of the worst experiences. Now, you combine that with getting shoved to the ground, and then you're getting bashed in the back of the head, which was the series of events that he went through as the events continued. I am not so clear in saying he obviously knew everything that was going on the whole time. He obviously knew what was being requested of him, and maybe he did, but ultimately, it's impossible for us to be able to tell. And because of that element of his sight being destroyed, of his nostrils being filled with that terrible, terrible smell, his head getting bashed, him getting dragged to the floor, and all that manner, all the yelling, all the whistles, we can't really know if he exactly knew what was going on, how many men were on him, if it was 2 men, if it was 5 men, if it was 6 men. I don't think we can say. And trying to guess, we can guess, but we can't do much more than that. So he's brought to the floor. He's bashed. When you look at his arms, people say that he made a clear movement towards his hand, towards the belt, towards the gun. Here's the question I have: I've watched the video from as many angles as I can. Obviously, I wasn't there. But when he moves his hands towards his body, that's even like he immediately goes towards the gun. He's moving his hands. He has his hands on the floor. He moves it back towards his body, where really any backwards direction would have been towards his belt line. At that point, if they're paying so much attention to see his hands going towards his belt, how are they not paying enough attention to see the gun going out of his holster? Also, I do want to throw out again, we don't know if it was a misfire. You said this before, but we don't know if it was a misfire. And if it was a misfire, then there's no debate.
Just real quick, Tyler, I just want to point out for the audience, just real quick, just want to clarify for the audience. Notice how they were like, it's 100%, law is always 100%, interpretation is like, it's clear and all this kind of shit. And then notice that they're using the word execution, and it's like the shadiest fucking shit that I've ever seen for the justification of the word execution.
I'm not
So ironically,
Never been
the
anything
fact that
shady.
Dylan described that as an execution, like, even though there's multiple different, interpretations to
That
it.
is that's a fair criticism, but nevertheless, like, I'm sorry, Dylan brings up a good point.
He's framing for a debate.
Yeah.
These two are vetted. They're obviously intelligent people, able to argue their perspective well. I'm not arguing with Chad. There's a bunch of retards down there.
Nah, I got TDS. I'm not gonna lie to you.
But chat is part
It's
of
fine.
like
You
they
can
want to
hold your own
learn.
in an argument.
You
That's
got to
all I care
teach
about.
chat. You gotta teach chat, though.
Yeah, well, fair
Teach
enough on
Frederick.
that. Yeah, Dylan brings up a pretty good point about the macing and like with the individuals behind him, etc. This is a pretty good point here because I've seen the videos myself. It does show that he did reach out, or at least knew that he was armed. It did show an officer that took out the gun before. When you look at the videos, it didn't look like any of the officers actually saw that happening. Now, it could have been a misfire, whatever the case is. When that happened, gun, 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 and then, of course, the shots rang out, right? So I think this is the debate of whether it was justified or unjustified. I think this is a very complicated case. Compared to the Renee Good situation, I think that was a lot more clear, that I believe anyways, that it was a justified shooting here, right? Compared to the Renee Good situation, I think this one's a lot more clouded up. Would you guys agree with that situation? Or with that take?
I don't think so until we find out the first shot, but we also needed extra footage to figure out exactly what went on with Renee Good. We didn't get that immediately as well. I think everything besides the first shot is pretty cut and dry. They were standing in the road, so that is illegal. They were impeding ICE's ability to do their law and creating a more dangerous situation. That's proven. Gravity counter backs the use of hands-on force with open hands, that they can keep their qualified immunity. This has happened dozens of times in courts. So everything up to that point. We also hear from the fourth camera angle, the woman in her car, he is telling them, get out of the road, and they're walking toward him. We see him tell woman one to get out of the road. She walks right back in the road and approaches the officer from behind. He grabs her, pushes her away out of the road, and that's when Pretty steps in and puts his hands on him. Or some people say he didn't touch him. I think he definitely did, because you see the officer move back after the hand makes contact, then he puts his hand off of him. That's enough to say he assaulted the officer. Even if he didn't touch, just enough to say he assaulted the officer, that warrants the macing. And because he was ignoring lawful commands, he assaulted an officer, and he violently resisted arrest, they have every right to put him to the ground. Even if he was just trying to get off the ground, him reaching in that direction is enough to say he was thinking he was going for his gun. Now, to say the officer should have been paying more attention, most of them didn't even know he was armed until they said gun, and they had about 1.3 seconds from gun to the first shot, 0.6 seconds from the disarm to the first shot. And then once the first shot goes out, all the other officers that were unaware of these factors are justified to shoot. So only shot number 1 could potentially be a negligent discharge that could result in some charges. But because of the totality of the circumstances laid out in Graham v. Connor, I don't think that will work that way.
Okay, fair enough. Really quick, guys, I'm sorry to interrupt the debate a little bit, but Flow State just gave out $100. He was supposed to be on this panel instead of Rinyal. No offense, Rinyal. And by the way, shout out to Rinyal for coming in clutch for this debate, man. I really appreciate you doing that for me. I really appreciate that. But the Powder Dusty sends out $100 saying, my bad, y'all. Really appreciate that, my friend. Thank you so much. We might open up the panel if everybody else wants to do it. I'll probably just keep streaming afterwards. If you guys feel free to stay. If not, it's all good. We still got about maybe 15 minutes before closing statements. Everybody's okay with that, right? For that? Okay, cool. Awesome, guys. So I'm sorry to interrupt the debate. Go ahead. Whoever wants to take the mantle after Tyler just
so like
stated.
this key point I just want to like drill home, because again, like I said, it's not that like we're wanting chat's opinion or whatever. It's like we're making our case to also chat. Like they're the majority here. Do you know what I mean? And like I said, chat, like notice the key distinction in language where he's like, this is an execution, as if like it's like a public hanging and all this kind of shit, versus when it comes to the law, that's like very kind of like when you're using these words again, it comes in down to interpretation. You know what I mean? So notice that this is an execution, all this kind of stuff, and then if you don't see our way, it's 100% clear and all this kind of shit. There's no room for mistakes. There's no room for all this stuff. And like I said, we were literally watching a president falling up the stairs and being called sharpest attack. I mean, come on, people, come on.
Okay, when we talk about rights, it's not a mistake, right? When we have the FBI director going on TV after the shooting, suggesting that bringing a gun to a protest is a hostile act, that's something that is the direct contradiction of the nature of the intention of the Second Amendment as it was written by the founding fathers. That isn't a question of like, oh, you know, this is just a question of like, you know, a mistake. That's not a mistake. That's ignorance. That's ignorance on behalf of the FBI director. That's ignorance amongst Trump. When he talks about a gun, he sounds like a toddler. So when we say mistakes, these are mistakes, maybe, but if you're continuously ignorant, you stay ignorant and keep making the same mistakes, that's a dereliction of duty. And that's the case when it comes to people's rights, whether it's the Fourth Amendment, the Second Amendment, the First Amendment. All the amendments seem to be produce a little bit of distaste in the administration at the moment. So look, I understand that asking for perfection is hard, but when it comes to people's rights, we have no other choice.
Well, also, to be clear, like, I think that watering illegal activity down as if, like, it's all black and white or it's all gray, I don't think is true, right? Like, obviously, there's certain gray area for what's a violation of law, but there are certain things that you could do that might violate the law, might not, and then things that you could do that definitely violate the law, right? Like if somebody's coming at me and I stab them, it's kind of murky as to whether or not that, like, there's certain details that go toward whether or not that's self-defense, whether or not that was, you know, me protecting myself. If I walk up behind somebody and stab them, oh, well, that's just illegal, right? Like, there's not really much debate there, right? This framing of like, so oh, well, you're talking about some legal things as if it's complicated and other legal things as if it's not. Well, yeah, there's certain things that are not complicatedly illegal and other things that are complicated.
Right. We interrogate, let's say we have we got the truth serum thing with the CIA, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Bit of LSD and methamphetamine. Pump that motherfucker full, he'll tell you the truth, I'll tell you. And he goes basically and he says, like, bro, honestly, like hand to God, or like 100% truth. Like all I saw was him reaching for the gun. I heard a bang, and then I'm like, I'm not waiting at that moment. I'm not gonna let him kind of, because I've heard a bang. Potentially one of my bros is down. One of my actual like comrades and all this kind of shit, like people I put my life in, he's down. I'm not gonna wait for him to take a shot at me then. You know what I mean? So if that's why he's firing, and then like literally like every single one of these people around him, like that was the same situation, then would you not say it's like, well, then maybe it's not an execution, it's just, I mean, if you presuppose that
he's telling the truth, that he felt
you
his
could
life
phrase
was
it as a
threat.
tragedy.
I mean, I guess it just depends on what
you chose to call execution, correct?
I guess it just depends on whether or not we think a reasonable person would do that, right? Like if he was delusional, he just like loved pulling triggers.
No,
and
I'm
that was
specifically talking about you. honestly,
Would you prefer the term manslaughter?
One sec. It's a tragedy.
Well, I mean, I'd never used the term execution. I'm pretty sure at the beginning I said that I don't know the
Dylan
legality
used
of
it.
it, but I think it was immoral.
Yeah, no, that's me. That's me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you said you
So would you not say
specifically,
that
right?
tragedy is a fair word to use?
Tragedy also, yeah.
Yeah, it would be a better word because execution, like I said, like if that was the case, that everyone who fired a shot into the dude,
If everybody who
that
fired
was
the
their
shot
process.
did it as a legitimate mistake, thinking that something had, like if there was a misfire and XYZ, then maybe I wouldn't use the word execution. Maybe I would use the word manslaughter,
Tragedy.
negligent homicide. You know, tragedy also could be attached to that, no matter what, really.
Yeah. So, like, would you say that anybody who's currently using the word execution because they don't have that knowledge is being unfair?
No.
At this point, no.
I mean, just because
There
we
it
don't have a
is.
truth
There
serum
it
where
is,
you
chat.
tell your intentions, that means we can't call it execution? No, I don't think so. I mean, like, it clear, like the court of law isn't going to inject him with
Look,
an
if
FBI
you're
truth
asking
serum
if it
either,
meets the
right? That's
legal
not the standard that
definition
we.
of
The
execution,
reason, one sec. The reason my
right?
point
I'm not
is
saying
that
it
this
meets
is
the
a
legal
continuous-
definition of execution. I don't think they had to shoot that guy. I think they shot him 10 times in the back for really not the best of reasons. And whether he can get away with it, whether or not he's going to go to prison, that's besides the fact. To me, he didn't need to shoot him. And I think the ICE officers, honestly, in that instance, showed a lot of cowardice in the way they engaged with the general public.
Dylan, was it just a shooter, one officer shooter that shot him, or was it multiple?
There was two. There was two
was two.
shooters, but we don't know if the first shot was a misfire that then maybe
Right.
hit him, and then the second was a real. We have no clue. That we don't know.
Right. But we do see a correlation when it comes to particular situations where when you see a shot, usually you're surrounded because cops come in packs, right? So when there is a shot going on, we do see multiple shots. Like a lot of the arguments that I see from the left, and correct me if I'm wrong if you see this to be probable, is 10 shots a reasonable amount of shots to shoot at somebody in that situation?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, whatever
I
amount
think-
of shots disables the target. It's not a matter of like whether it's 10
But-
shots or it's 8 shots or it's 7 shots.
Yeah, but you
Whatever
have to realize
disables the threat. You know.
Sure, but it's
there-
multiple-
I don't really see there was a threat.
Okay. But I'm just saying, like, you see this all the time with multiple cops here. When a shot is fired, usually they put out their guns and shoot at different angles, right? So this is not uncommon to have 10 shots in a body here, you know?
Sure, but
So-
if you watch the video, I'm pretty sure, isn't it the case where like they load them up once and then they like kind of check for a second and then they keep loading them up, right? Like I feel like there was enough time to know that the target was immobilized before you kept pumping them up, right?
No, what are you talking about? That they reloaded their guns in order to shoot more? Is
No,
that
not
what
like a reload, but I'm pretty sure
Uh-huh.
there was like a pretty decent amount of time between each shot.
well, no, shots depending on the trigger that goes by. Look, again, 10 shots can be shot in a matter of like 3 to 4 seconds, Rinyal.
Sure.
So
yeah.
that's a small
Do we-
amount of time. So I don't think that's.
Do we
the
know how
case
much
there.
time there was before the first shot and the last shot?
I'm not necessarily sure, but if I had to guess, it's around probably that 5-second mark. If I had to guess,
You see what
you
I'm
know.
saying?
But that's what I'm saying. Like within the moment, yeah, 10 shots could be round out within less than 5 seconds, bro. So that's what I'm
Like,
saying.
we've gone to like we like even if we had produced that number, let's say it's 1.2 seconds. I mean, what relevant? Like, does that actually genuinely change?
Well, if it was
it?
1.2 seconds,
what's
that would
it?
suggest that there was. Like if it was 10 seconds, that's a long time to just sit there.
Sure.
Bam, 1, 2,
Yeah.
3,
Right,
4,
yeah.
5,
Yeah.
But if it's
7.
multiple cops, Dylan, just like you said, it was 2. Yeah, a 5 second seems pretty reasonable. It's probably around that 3 second mark or 2 second mark if it's 2 shooters, right?
If the guy's a threat, my contention has never been the 10 bullets or the 7 bullets. If somebody's a threat, you disable the threat.
Sure.
Period. And so the problem is, I think they identified the threat wrong.
Okay, fair enough. Tyler, what's your thoughts on that?
I'm all
You're-
good. I
you're
got
me-
all my talking points out. I'm. What was?
Okay.
Ask the question one more time for me. I'm sorry.
I had
I
a
was
question for
probably
Tyler.
closer. Yeah. What's
Go ahead, Dylan.
Can you send me the clip where you say, because you said that Alex Peretti assaulted the officer, and there's not like any shove or any punch, and I know you're not saying that. I assume you're saying he like when he got in front of him and the woman, maybe the front of his body like clipped him or something. You're saying like there was maybe like something along those lines.
Yep.
Could you send me like a clip or like a link to that
I said
specifically?
it,
Because
and I also sent you my notes if you want to fact check anything I said after the debate's over.
okay, gotcha.
Tyler,
gotcha.
could you send it in
Because
the
I
back
didn't
chat?
see Alex Peretti assault him,
Yep.
and it's not a popular description of the events.
Okay, awesome. We got it here. Hold on. Let's open it up. So this is what Tyler sent me. Okay, this is the actual footage here. Hold up, gentlemen.
We only need about the first minute of it because everything else is you probably don't want to show on your stream anyways.
Gotcha. Which one, on the first clip or the second? Oh, sorry.
First
it
was
is the
just
first
yeah.
one. Okay,
So
we'll
this is-
do
these
about
are- woman one
we'll
is
do
on
about
the
a
left.
minute for this one, just to kind of clarify what Tyler's point
You
was.
see the two women on
And
the,
then
on the
we'll
right
go
side.
from there.
Woman one is on the left, woman two is on the right, and then Pretty's on the left side of your screen. So they walk right up to the ICE vehicle. The officer was getting in. He gets out. They no longer have egress to get out. Then we see the pushy ICE officer approach from the left and tell them to get out of the street. You can't hear that from this angle.
So again, why is all this whistling going on?
Well, they're
So,
whistling
like,
for
inform
protest.
people ICE is around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, to protest, same way they're in the church.
So the ICE officer tells woman one to leave the street, tells the other two to leave the street. You hear him yell in this video. She approaches him from behind. He pushes her. That's the assault right there.
I don't buy it. I don't buy it, man. Honestly.
Just-
I
He
kinda-
don't-
wait, hold on.
He gets
He-
in front of him, dog. He doesn't assault him.
He is interfering with his legal duty to remove somebody from the road.
Well,
That-
interference
it's-
is
assault
different from
doesn't mean
assault.
touch. You're talking about battery. Assault
You
doesn't
just
mean
why
touch.
we just move it from assault to interference.
Interference is assault. When you step
Those
in
are two
between-
different football
No,
calls.
No. You're talking about battery. He doesn't even have to touch him. He has to just show he is going to step in and touch him.
So
he
if you
continues
step in
his
front of an
activities.
officer, that's assault.
If
You
you
don't
step
even
in
need to
front of
swing.
an
You don't need to
officer,
push. That's all
Then you put your
considered
hand up.
assault.
Yes.
Well,
And if you
that-
watch from a
What do you
different
mean? Wait,
angle,
wait. You say
the
put his hand up. Do you
officer-
mean physically touching him, shoving him with the hand, touching him with the hand, or do you mean
That would
just
be battery.
putting your hands up in front of an officer is assault?
Why-
That's
Yes,
the new standard for
stopping
Yeah,
it-
assault.
why-
stopping- no,
why are
it's
you
the
doing that to an
exact
officer?
Standards. I have the law. You don't actually have to touch him. You just have to show intent. So when he steps in front of the officer and puts his hand up to stop him,
I don't
that's
see.
considered
No, that's not
assaulting an
intent
officer.
to assault.
Okay,
That's
so
intent.
that's
That's
legal.
intent
So
to
that's
show he's
legal
not
thing.
going
So
for
one
his gun.
sec,
If
Dylan,
anything,
your
it could
question-
be that. It could be
yeah, Dylan.
just like showing
Hold
his
on.
hands are up. Not he's gonna
Why are you
swing on him.
running?
It could be a bunch of things, but it's not assault to put your hands up. It's not even
I have the
threatening
federal
assault to
law
put your
of
hands
assault
up.
to show you that is
Why-
exactly what it is. He stepped in front
Why
of
you-
him and put his hands up to stop him.
Hold on,
From
Terry.
a different angle, you can see the officer has to take a step back. You can see the connection from the angle inside the car.
Well, I didn't see him really have to take a step. He seemed perfectly fine. He didn't.
He took a step back.
Didn't get hurt. He wasn't pushed back. Seems perfectly fine.
It doesn't matter. It just
That's
the
an-
intent to do it. It doesn't have to. He doesn't even have to make contact for it to be assault. That's battery.
She was kind of far away from, according to this video, she was kind of far before he pushed her.
She was, but she was
Ty-
still technically in the road. He had told her to leave the road already, and then she came back into the road and approached him from behind. He grabs her, puts her in front of him, and then pushes her out of the road.
This seems more of like an obstruction of justice. I don't know if you would counter that as assault. I don't feel like that she assaulted the
can
ICE
pull the law
officer.
for you here.
But would
Neither
that
of them
be?
assaulted the ICE officer?
Wait,
yeah,
So
it's-
Dylan, the question is, why would you ever put hands on a police officer?
Well, the question was whether it's assault. But if we want to move on to that question,
real quick,
there
before-
could be
before we
reasons
move
for you
on.
putting hands on a police officer.
No, because like I said,
Hold
Todd
on,
has to
can I
research
read
on.
the
So like,
definition real quick?
Okay, hold on,
Yeah, go,
Tyler.
go,
So
go.
Go ahead.
assault in U.S. 18 U.S.C. 111. Forcible assaults, resists, opposes, impedes, intimidates, or interferes with a person's designated section 114 of the title. So all that fits into it. That is assault when you're impeding an
Wait,
officer.
what would
Okay.
be
lawfully
impeding?
removing
Wait,
someone from the
impeding an
street.
officer counts as assault on an officer?
Yeah, I can send it.
Well-
I'll put it in back chat.
There's no way.
Yeah.
Okay, but
There's
also,
no way that
can we
intent
just
to
say
assault an
that even
officer
if
is
we were to
counted as the
grant
same thing
that,
as assault itself?
even if we were to grant that, we don't even know what the investigation was. They haven't given us information on what investigation was exactly being impeded. That hasn't been revealed yet to the public, and they're still not working with local investigators on it. So I don't think we're going to get that information.
Well, that's what I said earlier. Why would they work with the local investigators if they're not legally compelled to when the state itself is not enforcing
Because-
federal immigration law when they're not compelled to? It's like if you're not going to throw
Because
us a
it's
fucking
wait,
bone,
it
why
doesn't
would
have
you
to do with
come-
I don't
federal
think-
immigration law. Tyler, you're getting too partisan on this. It doesn't have to do with federal immigration law. It has to do with if an officer commits murder, you want to find out if he did or not. If he did, you want him off the force. If he didn't, then you keep him on the force.
And
So that's
because
why you
it's
would work with local
supremacy clause.
authorities.
To be
so you have the
clear-
most eyes and the most evidence and the most hands to find what's the truth. That's
the
why it
law.
happened traditionally.
Supremacy
To be clear, I
clause
don't think-
takes precedent.
I don't think that,
But
this
that's not
statute
why.
that
But
you
if you want to
cited.
just know what happened, there's nothing holding them back from working with local investigators.
Sure,
Nothing.
and then there's nothing holding Minnesota back from working with federal investigators on removing people illegally. But since
That's
they're
actually a
not
good point,
doing
too.
that, The admin's saying no, we're not going to work with the people that are not.
So we
working
don't
with
need to
us.
get to the
They-
bottom of murder until you
They
give
are
us the
very- the
undocumented
FBI
immigrants.
is
Is
investigating
the
that.
offer? Is that the King's Gambit?
The FBI is investigating it. The DHS is investigating it. Internal Affairs is investigating it on the federal level because of the supremacy clause. The state cannot, unless they meet certain criteria to surpass the supremacy clause, which they have not, then it's not their jurisdiction. That's why.
Last thing I'll say, do you acknowledge that considering how many times DHS has confirmably lied about what happened, that public trust at DHS is at an all-time low, and so if you want to rebuild public trust to make it so shootings like this are less common, the first thing you would want to do is a transparent, open investigation working with local partners, no?
It would help, but at the end of the day, I don't think Christy Nome being a liar and an awful representative that shouldn't have any place in a cabinet has anything to do with the investigative team of professionals that work underneath her. She's a mouthpiece for the admin. These are working professionals. that have
According
been
to
in there.
Stephen Miller, he got his report from CPP. So, I mean, that came from
Yeah.
somewhere.
So they walked all that back. They took Nome out of there. They put Holman in. The administration admitted that she bungled this entire thing. Absolutely. They pulled
Was it
off
her
of
or was it Stephen Miller and they're protecting Stephen Miller?
Stephen Miller said, "Hey, I got bad information." Trump said, "I got bad information." When he saw the video, he said, "That looks pretty bad."
But she
actually."
didn't?
They took her off. They pulled her ass out. Apparently, they're talking about firing her right now. She's on the hot seat.
Do you think
Holman
she's
She
got-
the
should be
fall gal?
1000% fired, by the way.
Yeah, so yeah, I agree with you. She's awful at her job, and the Trump administration.
But do you think
agrees
she's the
with you.
fall gal? It's not just her. I mean, the whole administration ran with it.
No, I think that she's the fall girl for that particular narrative in the media. But Trump hates bad headlines, and I guarantee he'll fire her if he can get a good headline out of it.
I just want to add, I don't think that the statute that you linked said that like forcibly assaulting, resisting, or opposing is all the same thing. I think it just outlines that all of it is illegal, and then it goes on to say that each of them are punishable by different metrics, right? Like it says, shall be fined under this title or imprisoned not more than a year or both where such acts involve physical contact of the victim. Like this doesn't say that they're all the same. This just
It doesn't
outlines
say
that
I'm
they're
not
all
saying
illegal.
the same. They just all fit under the criteria of what assault, resisting, or impeding certain officers or employees. 18 USC code.
Sure, but
So
your
it falls
initial
under this
your initial
umbrella.
claim, I thought you said that like threatening to assault somebody is assaulting you. I thought that I explicitly
Yeah,
asked you
Stepping
that
in
question
front
and
is
you.
assault.
It says it right in here that they don't actually have to touch them. They have to show the intent that they want to touch them. So
In
just
order
him
for it to be
stepping in there
illegal-
and putting his arm
In order
out
for
is
it to be
impeding.
illegal, not in order for it to be assault. So to say that this person assaulted a police officer, that's just not true.
Nah,
You can
okay,
say that he impeded
might
or
have a
resisted.
technical
That's
win there.
fine.
He impeded in a way that violated this law. Let's rephrase it. Like that.
Okay, yeah. If you said that Alex Preddy illegally impeded the officers, I don't think anybody would disagree with that.
Okay,
but he
that's
definitely,
better.
I don't think
That's better. I'll
he
give you
assaulted
that.
this person.
That's better
Okay.
framing, yeah.
But like, notice that it's like we're just doing the dog walk thing, walking the back, and all the language, all this kind of stuff.
I think
because, like I said,
assaulting a cop and
one
impeding
sec,
a cop is a significant
It's really
they-
different, yeah.
They,
It still
they
is the
ignore
same
that
penalty
once.
under this law.
See what I'm saying?
I don't even think
But
it
it's
is.
different context for how an
Hold on.
officer
Ah,
behaves.
Hold on.
Americano.
Tarak,
Si,
really quick.
signore.
Tarak, finish your thought. We'll have Dylan and Rinyald respond to that. Go ahead. Finish your thought, Tarak.
Grazie, senora. So, like I said, like they ignore like the like simple things that are going on in that video. Why is there fucking whistles? What the fuck is going on in Minnesota? Like they're acting as if like, oh, that's normal, yeah. And then, like I said, like this shenanigans is coming. Get the fuck off the road. She's like, no, I'm not getting the fuck off the road. Why are you not listening to the cops? Why are you putting hands on cops? Why are you getting cops' faces?
I don't think anybody's saying that what's going on is normal. Like, I don't think anybody sees that video as like, oh, this is hunky dory, nothing's wrong with
Yeah,
this,
so
right?
how-
Obviously,
how'd
we're not
how'd
saying that
handle
because
how'd you handle that? It's
Dylan-
like, you know what, guys? Let's get rid of the people that are actually trying to enforce the law. They're trying to clear the roads. They're trying to
don't know if
stop
you-
these shenanigans.
Have you been listening throughout this entire? I feel like we've been very clear what we want to do. We want ICE to leave.
Nah, bro,
and
my
we want
mom
people
took
who assault police
Tylenol.
officers to be put away.
Yeah, my mom took Tylenol, so like, and I'm like, fuck, I'm fucked. I'm just fucked, bro. So you need to like
Okay.
use simple language. Yeah.
We want the people who assault police officers to be put in jail, and we want the ICE raids to stop.
I would have much rather
Why'd
be
you want
in
the-
jail than dead too.
Yeah, but the only way for the ICE race to stop is to get all the legal motherfuckers out of the country. So you're for getting all the
Absolutely
legal
not
motherfuckers
true.
out of the country.
Never gonna happen though. So
No, because if that was to be the case, well then ICE would no longer be justified, and then I'd join your side saying,
ICE isn't
yeah,
justified
we're
now.
against ICE.
I'm
Yeah.
still waiting for the
And
justification for the ICE raids now.
We get there, comrade. Call me Tom Comrade Teriovsky.
All
Like,
right.
if that is the case, then ICE no longer needs justification, and then I'll join you in that. So till then, we stand hand in hand, comrade. We join fight for
How the hell
get
do
rid
we
of
stand
illegals.
hand in hand?
I
do
will
just wanna
walk
throw
with
out
you.
there
I will
that-
fly plane. I will come over to Americas. I will hold hand with you, sir.
Russophobia is kicking in. I do want to say that the difference between assault and impeding is significant for how an officer should respond and analyze a threat. If somebody's trying to impede an officer, knowing that you've been in Minneapolis for months and there's a bunch of these liberal wine moms and other types that are trying to stop you from doing your job through blowing whistles, stuff like that, you should understand that poses a different threat than an assassin coming to massacre you with a very powerful gun loaded up with 2 fully loaded magazines, as the president described it. So I do think the difference is substantial. Also, the whistles,
like what happened
the whistles
with Trump,
are there.
like what happened
The
with Charlie
whistles,
Kirk,
man,
and like
he
I said,
just he.
Hold on,
Just
Teriak.
answer one
Ter-
question. One question, just real quick, because he's doing the whole thing like I said with the language. Just show me one. Just show me like the examples of like the people that are cheering this on the conservative side. The same
People
way
that
they
are cheering
cheered
what?
on after Charlie Kirk, because they keep saying,
There's
"Don't
a
bring in
few.
Charlie. You're not allowed to bring in
People who
Charlie
cheered
Kirk."
for Alex
TikTok,
Peretti's
buddy.
death.
That's a
Yes,
valid
yes,
question
yes.
because it's related to. Show
Take
me,
a scroll
show
through
me,
TikTok.
show me the mass, like the hundreds of thousands of reshares, the hundreds of thousands of
What
likes
is this in
of
relation?
these
This isn't
people
even in response to
cheering,
anything I was saying.
enjoying,
This is
saying
your
this
own
is a
Wait,
separate
great
Teriak,
thing.
have you not heard the
Okay,
conservatives
so-
saying, like,
so-
stick around and find out? Have you not heard that?
Do you want me to talk about?
Yeah, well,
Charlie
hold on,
Kirk
hold on.
now? I wasn't finished with my point.
Okay. I'm sorry, Dylan.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I was
T-
expecting.
Teriak's-
That's what I was,
Teriak-
I was
You're
coming
just-
to. Like,
that's what I'm saying.
I thought you were going to
Hold
bring
on.
a real
Just
argument,
interrupting.
Dylan. Like,
Teriak,
this is
Teriak.
resource.
Let me finish my
Yeah,
point.
I'm gonna
then we'll
st-
talk about
I'm
Charlie
gonna
Kirk
yeah,
or whatever.
yeah, don't worry. I'll
We
sit
are
back.
Charlie
Okay.
Kirk.
Tyler,
We
Tyler,
carry
you have
the
the floor for
flame.
the team.
Whatever you
I
need me
grant
to
you permission
say
for the floor
so I
to.
can finish my
Go
Okay.
ahead, darling.
Please.
Okay.
Tell me your
Okay,
myths.
really quick. Teriak, hold on really quick. Teriak's question is that, of course, during the Charlie Kirk situation, we had a bunch of TikTokers, a lot of people celebrating his death, etc. We didn't. His question is, do you see anybody on the right celebrating the Alex Purdy death? Rinyald mentioned the "fuck around and find out." That's actually a quote from Destiny, by the way, who during the assassination attempt of Donald Trump, where Corey Carpenter got shot. That's a quote from Destiny that's spoken about that. That's kind of the question here that Teriak's coming out is that was there any right wingers that celebrated or were happy about Alex Purdy's death?
Now, there's a question about like whether or not somebody is genuinely supporting something or making jokes, but like,
Yeah.
yes, the answer is yes. Obviously, there's more complicated questions, but like in shorthand, yes, there were right-wing people supporting the death of Alex Purdy.
Was
in the
there
same way
anybody
that there were Renee
significant?
Good.
Okay, was
on
there any?
camera, like literally screaming, going, "Yes, this is the best day of my life." Any conservative. Show me one. Just show me one.
Screaming,
Uno.
yeah, this is the best day of my life.
Uno más, por favor.
Yeah, well, like I said, I don't think there was any footage of people making TikToks dancing about Alex Purdy's death or anything like that. I think
There
there's
certainly were.
distinguish that.
And
Well,
that's
I
the
mean, if you
difference.
can bring them up
And
for
they're
me,
the far
I've never.
right, they're the
Hold on,
extremists.
Teriak, hold up. Rinyard, if you could send me a couple of those TikToks, I have a whole fucking montage of people celebrating Charlie Kirk. I mean, literally people doing that. But nevertheless, well, guys, we'll edit there. I think we kind of went through a lot of this stuff. Unless Dylan, you have any last words to say on that, we'll get to closing statements. If there's any questions you have for Teriak and Tyler before we end off the stream, same thing with you, Rinyard.
No, I mean, I think we've basically.
I think we've
gone through everything. I think we've gone through everything that we need to say. Anything I had to say, I could say in any statements.
Okay, awesome, bro. All right, with that being said, we'll shoot out to closing statements here. Now, from here, we'll do from since you guys opened up the panel. I think it's fair for the left to close out the panel here. Actually, have the last word. I'm sorry, guys. You guys will have the last word. We'll start with Teriak on the closing statements, and then you guys can have the last word. Teriak, go ahead, man.
Yeah,
Closing-
so
closing
like,
thoughts.
Fundamentally, like to answer Andrew's question from the beginning of the debate, I don't know if he's still watching, maybe he's still lurking. Like my whole point here was just to negate all this moral shit that they were going to dodge, duck, dip, dive, and dodge. I mean, call me Patches O'Houlihan. that's why like I was here. Like that's my purpose, and then let Tyler shine with the stats and the legal. Like I said, pulled out the legal definition and say, what the fuck you talking about, bro? You know what I mean? And then they, like I said, expose them in terms of like the language they're using, saying it's like, oh, this is like 100% interpretation. Like it's everybody is on the same page here. Like you're an idiot if you don't get this, all this kind of shit. Like I said, I can just point to Protestantism as just a clear phenomenon. So in terms of like that aspect, and then like this whole thing of like the execution, I said, well, like I said, if that was a situation where going through their heads, we hit them with the truth serum, and they honestly were saying, it's like, I heard a bang, I saw him reach for the gun, the hand was on the gun, and we just unloaded. It was just the instinct thing. That, yes, said, like I can even say, it's like, I can even grant you, it's like, yep, it was a mistake, fire them, all this kind of shit. You know what I mean? But in terms of this whole thing of justification of ICE and all this kind of shit, like the basic questions for like that video, like why the fuck are like they blowing whistles? Why the fuck are they getting in cops' faces? Why the fuck are they storming churches? All this kind of shit. My main goal here was just to negate this whole thing of where they want to go into the very specifics and the high detail of an isolated part of the event. And I'm like, we have to look at the big picture. What's going on? And like I said, both of them even conceded, and fair play to them for conceding this, that it's like, if you send in force, things like tragedies are going to happen. It is what it is. But sometimes it's noble, sometimes it's justified, sometimes it's necessary. So in terms of that aspect, that was my role again. Shout out to Tyler for being the partner. Again, Dylan and Ryan especially coming in last minute as well. But yeah, I appreciate you both stepping into the ring as well. I always respect the people that want to go, you know, and embrace the debate and all that stuff. And again, shout out to Jay for hosting as well. Salute to you, sir.
Yeah, appreciate that, my friend. Tyler, go ahead, man.
The two people to my right, both very skilled, both very intelligent, gave me a damn good run for my money, audience. I hope you're entertained. So the shoot was more than likely justified, lawful but awful, pending the FBI investigation that's ongoing. Under Graham v. Connor, which sets up the test for justified force, it is shown that most of the force here was more than likely justified in a perfect world. The state does not have the jurisdiction under the Supremacy Clause to investigate this unless they prove certain criteria they haven't even attempted to disprove yet. So we have tons of cases where hands-on force is justified if you impede officers or create a dangerous situation for them, like standing in the road. And No v. Velasquez Perdomo shows us that these are the two criteria that ICE can use to detain or arrest U.S. citizens. We also have tons of cases where attempting to push an officer is assault. But most importantly, January 6th, where we saw several people charged and convicted with both assault and battery just for pushing officers. Should they have to? No. The state and local police should be taking care of this. But until recently, the state police and the sheriffs weren't doing anything. They just started, and local police still are not doing anything under orders of the mayor. This is allowing the chaos to fester. This is allowing the situation to get worse because we see crimes being committed and nothing happening to the people doing them. Most of these officers weren't ICE. We have to remember that. A lot of the officers involved in the shoot were BPA and CBP that were called in to back up ICE because most of ICE is in the southern parts of the states. 20% of what ICE is doing takes place in Texas. Only 2% takes place in Minnesota. They are drastically undermanned, and when they're not being backed up by local law enforcement, this is going to be the result. So the reason we're seeing this massive push of ICE deportations is because the previous administration, within their rights, interpreted parole authority, visa authority in order to bring in an unprecedented amount of people. Even admitted by the New York Times, we saw more people come in 4 years than ever in U.S. history in that same time frame. That being said, 500,000 people that came in under the illegal visa program lost that right. We saw that in the Supreme Court. 1 million people were brought in using that parole authority. Both of these things were struck down by courts while Biden was still in office because lawsuits came up. Next, on top of that, we have a FAIR study talking about the asylum abuse. Under both Obama and Biden, they created a credible fear. I know you hate FAIR. I know you do, but under the asylum, they created a credible fear, which is a lower standard of asylum that was being used. Trump used reasonable fear. They used credible fear, and we saw skyrocketing abuse by the asylum claims. According to this study, 60% of people that came in under credible fear either didn't even apply for asylum, applied for asylum and dropped out, disappearing into the interior, or got rejected and disappeared before their deportation date. 60% of people that use this lesser claim that Biden and Obama pushed were abusing the system and were still here when they left office. The Trump admin gave them a good phased off-ramp. Here's $2,500 self-deport. 2.2 million people took that. That's about 10 to 15% of the illegal immigrants in the country took that money and left on their own. The rest decided not to. They needed to be removed by force. ICE's sole duty is to remove them by force. They are morally compelled to uphold the laws. You can argue they shouldn't be as aggressive as they are, and I may agree with you. But the fact that Trump was elected on this, the number 2 or arguably the number 1, depending on the exit poll, issue of the last election, where he had 60% approval, including a majority of Hispanic support on mass deportations, they are morally compelled to do this. And that is all you need, no matter what a snapshot poll that has a flawed sample size in the last week says.
Okay, thank you so much for that closing statement, Dylan. You and your partner have the last word. Go ahead, Dylan.
Sure, I'll just ask people they can go watch the last seconds before Alex Peretti was pepper sprayed in the face if they want to, if that's assault or even going as far as battery. I think he was getting in their way. You could make you make a statement about impeding an investigation, but that's very different than assaulting a cop, brandishing a weapon, assassinating, and many of the things that have been claimed to justify the shooting of Alex Peretti. As for the idea of the polling data not being sufficient, and Trump was elected on this, Trump was elected on a platform of deporting the most violent criminals, deporting rapists, deporting murderers, deporting boogeymen, bedtime story type of figures. The ways that they would talk about these people was the worst of the worst, and those people do exist in the United States, and that's who we went with this campaign to go against. And a lot of people in the country, and you can say, well, he said in this podcast when asked on this show that yes, we are also going to deport these people. That wasn't the message they delivered on the campaign trail. You have a lot of people who voted for Trump saying, I don't know how my cousin got deported. I thought they were going after the gangsters. I thought they were going after the murderers. I thought they were going after the X, Y, and Z. And so you can say Trump has a mandate with a vote where he didn't even get a majority of the population to vote for him. But I think that the pitch he made to deport rapists, that's popular. The pitch he made to deport everybody, that's not popular. And I don't think that violating the First Amendment, the Second Amendment, the Fourth Amendment, the 10th Amendment, or really any of the amendments in order to accomplish that is helping anybody. Is it supposed to help me? I'm the American citizen that these rights are being violated against. Is it helping the people who are being deported? Well, obviously not. Is it helping the United States? Because you could say, well, we've deported somebody who wasn't supposed to be here. Okay, maybe if they're 25 years, maybe they're productive in the community, you remove them, you pissed a bunch of people off, you've accomplished that, and then what? Then we've given the government more powers to violate our Second Amendment, First Amendment, Fourth Amendment, 10th Amendment rights. We say, okay, they can do it when it comes to immigration enforcement. Why wouldn't they be able to do it in other instances? How quick our government is to declare us terrorists, declare anyone terrorists. And so I don't like how the way this word is being thrown around willy-nilly. He's a terrorist. Renee Good's a terrorist. If a bullet hit my body, am I a terrorist just because the bullet happened to hit my body? My problem is not only that rights are being violated, but if you think it will stop with ICE when it comes to this administration, I think you're a little foolish. Why would we imagine that we give any power to the government? It's just going to stop when it comes to immigration enforcement. They'd never do it against their own citizens, except for the fact Trump did ask if he could deport his own citizens on a leaked audio file. Anyway, I think besides that, I don't really have anything else to say besides I really, really, really do hope that my documentary gets all the viewership in the world, and I'm rich and I'm famous and I have all the money. So if
There
you
you
guys
go.
will support that at Dylan Birds TV, that'd be great.
It's very good. I
Yes.
checked it out. It's very good.
Yes, and by the way, guys, all of their links are in the description below, so you can check out Dylan Burns' YouTube channel as well as his Twitch. That's over there, linked down below. Rinyal's the only one that's not in the description. Sorry, bro. I'm gonna add you there. Don't worry about it. But yeah, he's the only one that's not in there. But we'll get him in there if you're watching on replay.
One last thing. I will say, you could say there is a high ground that conservatives had when it comes to federal cooperation, state governments working with federal authorities when it comes to immigration enforcement. But whatever high ground they may have had is evaporated if in the process of trying to enforce said laws, you also violate the rights of either the state government powers or of the citizens that you're enforcing the laws against. So any high ground that could be retained is annihilated. Sorry, I'm done.
No, you're good.
No,
You're good.
no one
You're
said
good.
it's like Dylan. Like one could argue America's high ground was lost in,
these were
in, like,
closings.
after the war.
Yeah.
One sec, just because I need to address that lunacy.
Teriak.
Do
you?
like they lost the high ground in
I don't know if you do.
1945 when they done Operation Paperclip and then formed the CIA. But go ahead.
Okay. All right. There you guys have it there. Thank you so much, Dylan, for that closing statement. I will say this, as you know, I think after listening to y'all's arguments, I might be a paranoid liberal now. If Donald Trump's going against all these amendments, etc., who knows? He might be going against the 13th Amendment now, and we'll have slavery all over again, according to all this paranoia that I've been listening to. It's a joke. It's a joke. It's a joke. All right, I'm not saying black people are going to go back to slavery. Nevertheless, Rinyal, which by the way, your name sounds like a Shimigami from Death Note, by the way. So
It's memorable. That's the point.
I don't even know if I'm going to remember your name tomorrow, but if I do, I'm going to remember it from Death Note. Anyways, bro, go ahead. You got your closing statement.
Yeah, I'm Rinyald. Find me at Rinyald on all platforms. I think Teriak actually accidentally hit at a lot of good things. He just kind of walked back on a lot of them. If you send out force, there needs to be a threat of, or there is necessarily a threat of violence. I think that's super true. So that there needs to be justification to send out the force, right? But throughout this entire conversation, I heard no justifications for the mass deportations, other than just like this vague concept of enforcing law, which like I wouldn't support sending ICE to enforce jaywalking. I wouldn't send, elect a felon for the president if I wanted to do that. I just don't think that really makes internal sense with the Republican Party. And, me and Tyler talked about this one-on-one like a week ago, and I think that was a pretty good conversation. I didn't really get any real justification for the deportations there either. There wasn't like a real denial of the violations of rights that we saw either. We didn't really get like much pushback on the AEA other than the fact that we can never tell if somebody is doing something in bad faith. There was no real pushback on the administrative warrants being against the Fourth Amendment. So I'm just going to kind of, take that. Yeah, I see no reason why we should be sending these raids in the first place when considering all of the different things that we need to deal with as a result of all of these raids, right? It just, again, it feels like a solution in search of a problem. That's something I said in my opening. I think, again, it was really, really convenient because we got a really, really good example of the bar thing, right? Where if you let somebody in and they got past the bouncer and they didn't pay the $5 fee, but they're spending thousands of dollars in the bar and that you might need to kill them to remove them. And, it's going to cause all the people to leave the bar whenever you come in and get him. I don't even know if there is a real argument to get him out of the bar. I think the real way to do it is have a conversation with him, make him pay the fee, have a conversation with the immigrants, give them a pathway to citizenship. I think that's a way easier explanation. And then in terms of the shooting...
No.
Okay.
No,
Hold
no.
on, Teriak, let him finish.
In terms of the lawful but awful thing with the ICE shootings, I feel like that accidentally just concedes that it could have been avoided and therefore it's unjust, right? Like whether or not it's lawful, I'm not even super interested in. Whether or not these ICE officers get charges, I'm not particularly interested in. I don't think that these people who are doing unjust killings that could have been easily avoided, I'd say this about Preddy, I'd say this about Renee Good, should be out in force like that. But the fact that we have to pull so many untrained, unqualified people to do all of these unjustified ICE raids, I think is an argument against the ICE raids. But yeah.
Okay, thank you so much for that closing statement, man. With that being said, thank you so much for everybody tuning into the show. Dylan, thank you so much for coming in. You're a newcomer. Rinyal, you're also a newcomer, bro. I don't think I've ever seen you on the panels or anything.
I was on one thing. I talked to you and Teriak, I think, when Ryan was on here about gay marriage.
Wait,
it was like a year ago. I've been on here for like 20 minutes.
Wait, hold on. You've been on the show before?
Yeah, like one time.
Oh shit! I'm sorry, bro.
Super long hair. No, I looked way different. All right, I don't blame you.
Okay, I'm sorry, bro. I thought you were totally. Did I get your name wrong at the time too? Was I calling you? I did. Okay, I'm sure I did. I'm more than certain I was a lot more aggressive during that panel too because I'm in moderator mode right now. But okay, apologize for that. But you know what? Let's get you back on, man. I think you seem like a pretty articulate liberal. So I'd love to get you back on, similar to Dylan.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, similar to Dylan, man. So I definitely want to interact with you guys a lot more in the future. So we'll definitely get the contacts on. But anyways, guys, with that being said, we're gonna send you off to Teriak for the after party on his stream. If anybody wants to join in with Teriak,
No, I'm leeching off your stream on the StreamYard.
Oh
So it's
shit,
like-
are you,
like
bro?
mine's linked to yours. Yeah.
I guess we're going. Renner, are you live on YouTube?
I'm live
Rob
on YouTube.
Norris.
Yeah, but it's through a
Rob
different
Norris
thing.
live. You wanna write into him?
Let's go in.
I'm
Well,
fucking live. What the fuck?
oh, sorry, Tyler.
sorry.
You're gonna be my last. I was gonna ask
cares,
Renal and then
guys?
Dylan and then you. You're the last. You're the
I'm trying to
last
hit
one,
that
bro.
500. I'm trying to hit that 500. Make that money.
Okay. All right. We got to shoot
Make
it off
that
to.
De Niro, baby. Yeah, go do Tyler, bro. Do Tyler.
We'll do Tyler, man.
Come
Hold
do
on.
me.
Well, not
Wait,
that.
Tyler,
way.
give us your link. We give us your link because I'm not subbed. And also it gives you an excuse to do a filthy, shameless self-plug.
Yes, that is true too. Because normally Teriak does it separately, so my bad, man. Tyler, where the fuck are you at? Average
It's
debater,
inside.
right?
It's in the private.
Put it
Also,
in the
Jake,
public,
I want to
motherfucker.
say you're
told you
welcome,
to
by the way. I missed Shakur Stevenson versus Teofimo Lopez for this, okay? That fight was supposed to be everything for me tonight. I have money on it.
Oh, I'm so fucking sorry, bro. I'm
It's
so
okay,
sorry.
it's okay. You asked me. I came here. It's my decision.
I thought it was
Yeah.
a good
I made
one.
mighty
We didn't-
sacrifices.
This was a good debate. I thought I had a good time. We all
Wait,
both-
wait. By the way, hold on. Isn't the main event gonna happen around 10 p.m. Central Time?
It's 10 p.m. It's 10:30 p.m. EST right now. Do you
Okay.
mean Central Time? 10 p.m. Central.
Yeah. Is it going on
Just
right
don't
now?
like that time.
I think, dude, I'm just gonna watch the whole. I always watch it from the start. I'm just gonna watch the
Okay.
whole thing tomorrow. Don't worry
Okay,
about
fair-
it. But
fair enough.
I gotta run away from Twitter now because every time I miss one of these fucking events, I'm like,
Uh-huh.
okay, don't worry. I'll just on instinct open up Twitter. I'll see the result and I want to kill myself.
For sure, Dylan. For sure, Dylan. I didn't know you were a one of those. You don't strike me as a guy that's interested in like combat sports, bro.
Oh, dude, I love boxing.
Do
my
you?
grandfather took me to boxing gym when I was in middle school and high school, and I loved it. I loved everything about it.
Right on, man. You don't strike me as that type of guy, so that's cool,
I went to
bro.
Sugar Ray Leonard's gym actually.
Did you really?
Yeah,
Sugar
yeah.
Ray
He's
Leonard.
from my county, Prince George's, gorgeous Prince George's.
Right on, dude. Okay, that's something new that I learned about you. Oh, right on, man. Right on. Rinyal, are you into sports, man? I just asked the question because most liberals just aren't.
I'm into the pussy version of combat sports. I'm a pro wrestling fan, and I watch basketball.
That's definitely something that you'd be. Now, I was interested in wrestling, like pro wrestling, when I was a kid. It is entertaining, but
Hey, there's a little overlap.
Dude.
You got Bobby Lashley.
yeah,
and
Bobby
CM
Lashley was
Punk
cool.
and,
Yeah, CM Punk. I got you.
Just
I
real
got
quick about the rating into Tyler, you need to go into your YouTube settings and enable rates or redirects.
Oh.
Yeah, because I can't find you, Tyler.
Yeah.
And
So
Where the fuck
Rinyal-
is
listen to me.
that?
Yeah. Listen real quick. Go into YouTube Studio. On the very left hand side of the screen, there should be a cog. Let me know when you click that.
I don't follow Rinyal on YouTube, so I can't raid him, bro.
Shame.
You gotta send me your contact, Rinyal,
All
like
right,
on
YouTube
Discord or
Studio,
something.
Then whatnot? Oh, the cog.
Yeah.
in
So if you
YouTube.
click the cog,
Okay.
click the cog.
I'll
And
send
then
it back
click,
here, but I still think you
community
should send it to
moderation.
Tyler.
Yeah, I'll send it
because
to Tyler,
I'm
but
not
just
gonna
so I
be
can
live
have your
after long.
shit. Yeah,
And then
just
click
so I can
user
have your shit,
management
dude.
on the
Yep.
right.
Gotcha. I sent
for
it in the
that.
back.
Okay.
Oh, bro, I am subscribed to you already. I'm
And
sorry,
then scroll
dude.
down to the
Oh,
bottom.
all
to user
channels
I
management.
told you. I'm
redirect
telling
to
you,
my
I look
content.
different.
Okay,
Yeah, make sure that's clicked, and then make sure you click save as well.
Got it. Done.
you're good, Tyler.
Yep.
By the way, bro, I think I probably subbed to you because I met you for the first time, but I guess I just didn't remember you.
It's all good. I looked way different when I did that debate. I had long, luscious locks. All right. I was there backing up Ryan, so who knows?
Oh yeah, that guy. Oh man, that dude's something else. But hold up really quick. I see Teriak.
Hey, nice to meet you, Dylan, too.
You
by
might
the
need
way.
to
All right,
refresh
I've been
your
watching
studio
you for a little bit.
Jake.
Oh, thank
Yeah,
you.
let me-
Nice to meet you too.
Yeah, I'm sorry, guys. If we're holding you
too,
guys
Dylan.
up, I'm sorry, but I just need to get the direct.
Dylan's
Tyler.
fantastic, and he actually lives by what he fucking preaches. Unlike most people online, he's like the amount of bravery it takes to go and do what he actually does. And that documentary, by the way, worth checking out. The dude, like, endless applause, like from anyone, even if you disagree with his politics, endless applause.
Yeah, it's crazy.
There's
Um,
many
I was-
reasons to disagree with my politics.
Oh,
I
yeah.
was hosting a debate between Russia and Ukraine, and one of my buddies liked the documentary that you made. It was kind of crazy when I got the ability
Oh,
to
which one?
be on a panel with you. I don't remember. Hold on, give me 1 second.
Was it the Paul Crufts one or the Prisoner Soldier one? Those are the most popular ones.
It was the hunting ground in
Got it.
Oh, the Human Safari one.
yes,
That
Human
was one of my
Safari.
favorites.
Yes,
It didn't get as much attention as I thought it should have, but it was one of my favorites. We spent a lot of time speaking to people who were hunted.
yeah.
Right on. Yeah, Dylan. Yeah, I checked out some of your stuff. I didn't go through all the documentary stuff, but I will say that you definitely are pretty successful, especially on YouTube with your documentaries. Very high-end production as well, Dylan. So very much.
It was a hard
congratulations on
change,
that.
man. It was. I went from hosting panel shows to filming on the front line of a major war. It was a big shift.
Yeah. I was gonna ask, how long have you been doing that, by the way? Because Tim Pool was doing
it'll
that
be
during
4
the
years and a few months. I've been doing
4
it for 4
years?
years now. Yeah.
Wow. Well, then you really did.
I've been doing
do a
this
lot of
longer
stuff.
than I did my panel show, longer than I did the rest of my politics stuff. Now I didn't realize that until like a month ago. I was
Oh,
like,
really?
damn.
Crazy.
That is crazy, dude. No, but congratulations, Dylan, because you definitely put out some really high quality content on your YouTube specifically. Your Twitch, I checked it out. It's a lot more of like your live streams and stuff like that. So that's always good for the balance. But you've definitely done some good stuff on YouTube, because with the 90K sub stuff, very much impressive, man. I gotta say.
The problem was originally that was my commentary channel, the Dylan Merns TV thing, and it had like 85K subs. In the last 3 years, I only gained 5 because what would
Really?
happen is let me tell you how it worked. Over the last 3 years, everybody who wanted panel shows, they unsubscribed because I'm not doing panel shows anymore. I'm putting out war documentaries where you got to read the subtitles. Somebody talk about their village burning down. It's not exactly the same market, you know.
Sure,
So I
sure, the
I
niche.
should have started a new channel, but I was so scared that I would make these films and then nobody would see them because it's on a 0 sub channel, and I
Makes
just
sense.
like threw my life on the front line for 2 people, and one of the comments is just gonna be like gay. Like I don't want that. So I decided I would sacrifice the main channel analytics, and it's finally paid off this year. Well, like late last year, because now we're having 200K documentaries, 100K documentaries, and it's finally starting to be self-sufficient. So I'm happy I took the jump.
Oh yeah, definitely, Dylan. Much congratulations, man, on that, dude. It's very much
Definitely good work.
Definitely good work, dude. So that's why, like, when I checked out your stuff, I'm like, oh, Dylan's he's been fucking like grinding for I don't know how long, but this guy's definitely gotten a big amount of views. So I was really happy for you to come on and kind of tangle up with the gentleman that I had in front of you, you know. So very much on that. And by the way, Rinyal, just also wanted to thank you for jumping on, you know, randomly. Tyler, thank you for coming by. Tyler's a good friend of mine. We always have shows weekly here on Project VOPA with me and him. And by the way, Tyler is a liberal, quote unquote liberal, when it comes to some particular situations, but then also he's right wing. So I like the guy. I get along with him. We don't agree on Israel. He's a Zionist. I am an anti-Zionist. But nevertheless, yeah, we do have a relationship there. But and then Teriak's me and him have been friends for the past like probably 2 years since I first started streaming. Like, this guy was the first one to kind of come into the chat with me. So so it's been a long history here, guys. With that being said, we're gonna send you off to Tyler's Average Debate Enjoyer. If you guys want to do the after party over there. Dylan, thank you so much. Rinyal, thank you as well. And Teriak, of course, thank you. And
Thank you
with
for
that
having
being
me.
said,
Nice to meet everybody.
yeah, nice to meet you guys. That being said, God bless. And
Okay. I'm gonna finish up the rest of my time on here, and then we're all finished.
I mean, you're splitting hairs.
Hey!
What's up, man?
Hey!
What is up?
I'm here
Did you
to-
win?
Yeah.
Did Renyald continue to make his weak arguments?
He made a couple good ones, but as soon as they were countered, he went to TDS, and it didn't really hold that well. We kept talking about law and order, enforcing the laws of immigration laws and whatnot. Then why did you vote for Trump? And it really just kind of fell flat. So I'd say Dylan gave me a run. Dylan Burns is a really good debater. No matter what you think about him, he can hold his own. But I'm here to defend Sarah now. Who's talking shit? Who needs it?
No, nobody's been talking shit about Sarah.
Good. I'm a knight of the Panelverse. I fight for House Panelverse, and I will defend her honor. My wife didn't like that.
You're about to get beaten live
Oh, hold on. Let me explain myself.
in real time,
She hosts debates. She's very.
in stereo.
So no, she's not upset. She watches her with me in bed sometime when on Instagram. I'm her #1 Instagram viewer. But yeah, what's up? Who we talking shit about? Who's stupid? Who's faking gay?
Oh, this guy. So there was a guy here earlier, Ombre76, I think, or something like that.
What a
Who
bitch.
literally, he was well, obviously he was on Twitch. He wouldn't even come over on YouTube like a proper gentleman. So he was sniping from Twitch, and basically he was saying that Trump's name was mentioned in thousands of emails in the Epstein report.
I looked through them. I was arguing. Enemy Charlie lost her mind today. She was going full QAnon. I looked through them all.
Yeah. And I'm like, no, he's only mentioned in like 4 or 5 of them, not thousands. And even then, he's only mentioned by Epstein, right? Like he's only and in like a very passing way, and he wouldn't admit that he was wrong about that.
I was watching Andrew this morning on Twitter just completely dispel everybody's arguments on it. So I went and looked into it myself. It looks like almost all of them are secondhand. FBI couldn't verify anything. So bad sources, and most of them were right around the election time.
Most of the time, Trump's name is mentioned is not in an actual email, in an Epstein email. It's in an investigation note.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was just saying last night that I hadn't seen or heard from Charlie in a while. So I hadn't seen her around.
She said that the system is corrupt and the only way we can fix it now is communism. All of our elites are part of a pedophile ring. And I was like, bro, if you can find the proof, show it to me. If not, take a gun, head over to Comet Pizza and Ping Pong. It's in the basement. And she did not find that funny. Yeah.
Yeah.
So she kind of lost her in her marbles today, it looks like. But you know what? Whatever. It is what it is. Is that Anson in the chat?
Whoa, wait a minute. Wait, what? Hold on. Hold the phone. Speaking of Andrew, he gave me a shout out on his post JRE show. Well done. What? Can you please elaborate, sir? I did not see that. She's apparently sorry she doesn't have a penis for those guys. If those guys would like you to have a penis, I have problems, and there's so many questions about that. Let me know about this shout out. I'm now I got to go find it. Clip it. Somebody clip it. I've not heard that.
Is that Anson in the chat, Mr. Andrew Wilson?
Obviously.
Yeah, I thought so.
Like, it's obvious. Obviously, Anson is obvious.
Yeah, Anson, I'm sorry I can't match your extreme alpha energy. I'm doing my best, but you know, I'm married, so my testosterone is hobbled.
Actually, when you get married, I think your testosterone goes up, not down. Look at how much healthier you are. You're not all pasty faced. You don't blend into your walls, which I mean, obviously you've got a backdrop up now, but you know.
I got better lighting too. We bought a real studio light, so it looks a lot better now.
My eyes got watery. No, I just didn't know he said that. I was like, that's pretty rad. I mean, that's rad if he did. I should watch it. I should. I don't have time to watch everybody's content. I barely have time to create my own content, let alone watch other people's.
So yeah, I'm gonna talk some shit.
Some shit.
Cool Vic, you need to stop fucking stalking Sarah. It's creepy. You made 40.
Well, he said yesterday he was going to.
I'm sure he said that. I guarantee we're gonna see this video.
I went on there and talked a little bit. It's an interesting thing because I don't really know that much about Cool Vic, right? And I actually thought that he was in kind of the same sphere we're in, where we do commentary and debate and stuff like that. But what he actually is, when I actually went and looked at his content, Sarah was like, hey, he's done like so many hit pieces on me or whatever. And I went back and looked at it. I don't agree that they're hit pieces, but he's a reviewer, right? So he picks streams in a very, that he, normally it's an Andrew or Andrew centric show, and then he reviews it, which it means he plays it to his audience and he speaks for like 10 or 15 minutes, right? And so while I disagree with Sarah that he was actually doing hit pieces, it's just what he does is he does these reviews, and he talks shit about his, because obviously he's on Andrew's side, so he talks shit about whoever's opposite of Andrew, and he, and that gets him clicks and views, and that's how that works. You're out of the bath now.
I'm sure
you're not naked, are you? Don't be naked.
I understand he's showing loyalty.
Don't be a
to his
criminal.
boy. I get all that. I'm sure he's an all right guy, but like he's like.
Well, I'm not saying he's an all right guy. I said I didn't understand what his stream was. I've only been over there a couple of times, and every time I've been over there, they've been talking about debating or something of that nature. That's not the Raging Tomato. That's Anson.
No, it's me.
Oh, it is you? Okay. That's like something Anson would do.
You just sent the link.
I did, but that was like super fast.
Well,
Um,
Tyler sent it to me, and I just waited until.
Oh,
you
I
sent
got
it
you.
To me. I was just being respectful.
yeah, that's fine. Anson says, all jokes aside, I love Sarah and she is great. Tyler, you are the man, and Grit is an excellent former race car team owner. That's true. All of that is true. Former race car team owner. I could go back into it. I just don't want to. You were the #1 Tyler hater, Landon TV 25. I don't know. There's got to be a longer line than one. So, when getting out of the bath and being female at the same time. That's
Thanks,
Oh.
thanks, Wade. Love it.
Like
Please,
that's- apparently he considers that a.
I'm going to watch the movie with
I
the
mean,
wife in a
if
minute
I was
here.
a
was just coming
dude,
up to hang
y'all
out
would be
for him.
completely different with me, and that's fine. Like, but being a girl, I recognize I'm playing in a male space,
Sure.
but like they only tap into the fact that I'm a female when it's convenient for them to hit at, like, in a bad way. Like, oh, you're a whore, you're a slut, you're
I treat
this.
everybody
like-
like an individual, so if you act feminine, I'll treat you feminine. but-
Your mic sucks, Tyler. Either
Yeah,
speak
I've been hearing
into
that
it.
all fucking night. Yeah, no, I treat you like an individual because you're an individual. That's at the end of the day it for me, but that's because I'm not really on the right with these guys. Yeah, I'm getting there though. After this fucking pro-insurrection shit, I'm about done with these motherfuckers on the left.
Turning it. Mr. Boulay says turning in early. Got a ton of stuff to do tomorrow. Y'all have a great evening. Well, I certainly appreciate it, Mr. Boulay. You are an awesome mod. Thanks for all your hard work, my friend. Get a good night's sleep.
But you know,
Tyler can be a cuck, but I like him now that I have seen some good old fashioned Spurgeon. Yeah. Tyler's
Tyler Spurgeon's classic, though.
yeah. He's a classic Spurger.
Wait, why can I not hear you now? Let me jump out back in.
Where did Sarah go?
She said she couldn't hear anything. Is jumping back out and back in. Hey man, like,
gotcha.
you're allowed to disagree with people's politics, but I like to be somebody that people enjoy disagreeing with. I don't want to call them fucking names and attack their character and shit. We can all disagree in peace and go out and shoot guns together afterwards.
Yeah. I mean, look, I have no problem with Vic. I've tried to help him. I've offered to help him out with his debate prep and things like that because I think that he could be a reasonable debater. He does seem to get very emotional during debate, which I think is interesting. And he needs to get a handle on that. But it's interesting. I was asking Dennison yesterday if he felt like I was a stoic. And he's like, no, way too emotional. And I'm like, that's interesting. I get the opposite all the time.
I'd say,
And,
yeah, you're like, even Marte, when he was trying to like dunk on you, was like, you don't get to the point fast enough. You over-explain things. That's about as much as stoicism gets, giving everybody a fair shake. Yeah, I don't think you're.
Oh, you're talking about over on Vix?
Yeah,
Yeah,
he was trying to dunk on you real quick, which he was doing in good fairness and fun.
Yeah, it's fine. I mean, I consider Marte a friend too, but that's fine. I don't really have a. Well, so if you watch the debates, a lot of time you can actually see me decide which way I'm going to go with my response, like in real time. Like if you really pay attention, you can see me the wheels turning, and I'm like, am I going to be a dick, or am I gonna be funny, or am I gonna tear this guy a new asshole? And so it's very. I'm very purposeful in my responses. Tomatoes back.
Sorry.
OG, I can probably get you up here later if you want. If you hang out, man, just be cool. Just be cool, man. Be cool. But I just think it's an interesting thing. I think it's. I got you, Tyler. I think it's an interesting thing that people automatically assume that if you're being a stoic means that you're always Mr. Grumpy Pants. I'm in control of my emotions. 90%.
I don't think stoicism is always grumpy. I think you're just regulated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But at any rate, it was interesting. I was told I was not a stoic yesterday, and I'm like, I'm pretty stoic. I don't have absolute control of my emotions, but I got them on pretty good lockdown.
I'd say you keep your cool for most of stuff. Mostly. Until somebody like sets you off, and then it's like, ooh, we have a go.
Well, but I make a decision in that point, right? Like with and the Millionaire Bachelor's a perfect example. I was
that
sitting
was
there.
classic. No, he deserved every minute.
He did deserve every bit of it, and I was just sitting there listening to him, and I'm like, okay, I got like 3 paths I can go. I can be calm and try and talk to him, and he's just gonna sit there and be all. He's gonna try and be all cool, or I could just fuck him up. And I made the decision. I'm just gonna fuck him up.
Even my mom was sitting there saying, like, "Go, Grid, go." If you can get my mom like rooting for you, you have a win. So, yeah. But no, I wanted to tell you that whole Vic thing, because like everyone keeps saying that I'm doing all this stuff, but the thing is like they're blending me in with everyone else. And Vic's done all of these videos of me, and I happened to actually watch this one because I was like, what the hell is he talking about? And then I was like, all right, well, fuck this dude, and it's like, so they can do all of these, like, I guess hit pieces or whatever you want to call them on me, but I'm not allowed to respond back. That's the part that like tickles me pink, because I'm being deemed as like, well, you're not allowed to respond back. You're not allowed to do that. Like, why? Why am I not allowed to? That doesn't make any sense. Like, I haven't bothered this guy. I haven't done anything about him. Like, even though he's got video after video after video, and like, I'm not allowed to finally defend myself. Fuck you.
I mean, I certainly don't take it as you don't have a right to defend yourself. In just my observation, right?
Mm-hmm.
So again, because you made the point to me that, hey, he's made a lot of videos, and I went and I'm be honest, I didn't watch however many hours of video it is.
Oh, I wouldn't either. Yeah, I didn't.
But I kind of, I clicked through a bunch of them and got a feel for it, and I kind of I started to really understand what his channel is about. He is a reaction channel, and so the unfortunate truth is reaction channels do not exist without creating drama.
Mm-hmm.
And so unfortunately for you happen to be that drama lately,
right?
And so I will agree that I don't think that he's taken it too far. But I also don't think that he knew that. Well, I don't know. I don't want to make any statements about what I think people know. I just don't think it needs to go like too. I don't think it needs to go too far. I think he is the type of channel he is, and you're the type of channel you are. I have other than I think the animation that you use on one of your shows, where you're kind of dunking on all the dudes, which is totally fair if you want to do that. Other than that, I haven't really seen you. And I could be wrong.
Dunking on who?
I'm sorry?
Dunking on who?
On the dudes, the men, the dudes, the males. Because it's all you've got all of these pictures of men that you're like making fun. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
What are you talking about?
It's the opening to your show, and I saw it the other night. Hold on, I got somebody asking me something here. Do I want to co-host a debate with Uncle Fatty and OG on Christo nationalism?
Probably meant to be Christian nationalism.
Yeah, Christo national. I mean, yeah. Yes, that's an official call-out challenge if homie is man enough to accept. I mean, yeah, man, I'm down to do whatever, dude. Yeah, that's what I do. I do stuff like that. But at any rate, I'm sorry, I got distracted.
You
Shiny.
were talking about some video dunking on dudes.
Yeah, it's just like the intro to your show, and it's got an animated version of you talking about the dudes, and like, you know, it's got cartoon versions of the various people of the Panelverse on it.
Oh,
And
the
I don't know if
circus
you're
panel?
actually. I'm sorry.
You're talking about the circus panel,
Yeah, probably. Yeah, probably.
where it's like the Ringmaster circus panel.
I think that's the one. I got to be honest. I also didn't watch it all the way through, so
It's
I just
an
caught it,
intro,
for a few
like-
minutes, yeah.
Well, I'm trying to think of what else I have on there, but like, because I have different.
I mean, look,
different...
it's kind of irrelevant, right? Like, other than that, I don't.
Well,
think
I don't
I've
know who
seen-
I'm dunking on. If it's an intro video, I don't know who I'm dunking on.
Well, it's just kind of a snub at the dudes. And I don't know. Anyway, I at least that's the way I took it. I could be wrong. I'll watch it again to make sure.
Yeah, I
that
mean,
I'm
if
right.
it's the circus one, like they literally call it a circus.
Yeah.
Like this is what they've all called it. It's a fucking shit show circus, circus over here. Like,
yeah.
I don't know
I'm
how
sure.
that's a snub to something that they them that have said themselves.
Yeah. I guess so. From my point of view, I don't have any. So, and I felt like I'll make this like really publicly clear. I don't have any problem with you, Sarah. I think that you and I have talked, and I told you, hey, the way that all the stuff with you and Andrew and Rob and all that went down is, I don't agree with it, but that's between you. You guys are adults. It's not. I have nothing to do with it, and I don't involve myself in other adults' business unless invited, and I certainly not invited in this case. And beyond that, I don't have a problem with you. I don't have a problem with I don't have a problem with Dusty. I've been on Dusty's panel a couple of times briefly. He's been over here a couple of times. And as a matter of fact, I had him and Marte on a couple of weeks ago trying to sort out their debate. And I just I don't really see why this is continuing, right?
I think because everyone else is continuing it. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
everyone else just keeps going. I think I've made I made 2 videos, like 2 funny-ish videos or whatever.
Yeah.
And then I've done like 3 actual streams talking about what's being put out there. But it took me a long time to even do my first one because I'm getting hit left, right, and center between the comments, the DMs, the harassment, every freaking streamer and his brother talking about me. And it's like, all right, fine, I guess I'll go talk about it.
Yeah,
You know,
I get it.
and it's like, and everyone says, "Oh, you're continuing the drama." I'm like, all I'm doing is talking. Like you guys are stabbing me again and again. What do you want me to just sit here and bleed out and die? I don't know. Like it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I
to
don't
me how
really
they-
know. I'm not the one doing it, so I can't answer any of those questions.
Yeah, I'm
All-
not saying you, but
Yeah.
I mean, you just look out there and all the thumbnails with just my face on it, shitting on me, and it's like you like, what do you expect me to do? Like, just crawl in a hole and cower? Like, I have to talk about it at some point, and at this point, it's like nobody cares. Like but I think they keep lumping me in with Dusty because Dusty's the one that's making all of his
Yes,
his
absolutely. I was
videos.
about to say that. I think it's a lot of it's guilt by association because you and Dusty are tight, and in the very beginning of all of this, you guys were kind of playing off of each other to some degree and whatnot. And so I think that you are whether it's accurate to do it or not, or even reasonable at this point, you are lumped into the same kind of category. as
Right.
Dusty. And
And they
whether that's
just-
fair or not, I can't.
Yeah, yeah.
Can't really speak to, but I want to answer this guy, Cyborg 4706. Grid. What was the day you became okay with PDF since you still support Trump? I will literally cash app you $100 if you bring your dumb ass up on this panel and give me one shred of proof that Trump is a PDF. I double dog dare you. Actually, I triple dog dare you. And you ain't got a hair on your ass if you don't come up on this panel. Otherwise, fuck off. I will put my money where my mouth is, but you won't put, but I'm certainly 100% aware that you have no proof. I'm sorry, Sarah, we can continue now.
I mean, I like the idea of the hair on his ass. I mean,
he ain't got a hair on his ass.
That part got me.
That's a Southern thing. You ain't got a hair on your ass.
Yeah, I do. I think they're just lumping me in with Dusty, and Dusty, that's his stuff. That's what he does. Damn it, dog.
Yeah, to be fair, you did say a couple things. You did make a couple of videos. You did address it, but then
that was a month ago.
Yeah,
that was like 2 months ago, and each time had an actual valid reason. I mean, one of them I did because they wouldn't pay me. They wouldn't pay me what they said they were going to pay me, and then they kept fucking around and like harassing me about it. And it's like, just fucking pay me so I can go away.
Yeah.
Will
I take docs from the Epstein files? Absolutely. You bring it up here and show me in the Epstein files where there is proof that Trump is a PDF, because he can't. We've looked all through them, baby, and there's nothing, not one item, sir. You will literally you'll have to have a reach that Michael Phelps would be envious of to make that shit happen. Yes, I think Trump ran teen pageants for profit. And he actually didn't run them. He had women do that. Very capable women, I might add. That 3K stream was retarded. I don't know what 3K stream you're talking about. What's up, Emmett? How are you? Emmett, we have someone who's accusing Trump of being a PDF file, but he's just like, man, blah, 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 blah. I would absolutely accept Epstein file evidence if you actually have evidence and not innuendo or rhetoric.
Leave a like. Thoughts on the wrongful payout?
Tyler's already out doing that.
I took care of that in chat already. I'm just closing my stream down right now, so ignore me talking.
You got a jet? Oh no, you were closing your stream. I got you. But yeah, Sarah, I think that you're catching a little bit of crossfire because and I mean, to be honest, Dusty's even kind of letting it. Oh, Sarah's gone again.
How do I raid people?
She'll be back.
Oh, I should do this more often. Let's
maybe
raid on YouTube.
And she's back.
All right.
All right.
Oh no, it went out. It's getting weird again. Let me try one more time.
Yeah. So Sarah, I think you're just kind of getting lumped in with Dusty, but even Dusty is not going after Andrew quite as hard.
Even that Bill Gates thing.
We'll see. We'll see where this goes. I think I don't know. I mean, I'm certainly not involved in this. She's roboting. And she's gone again and back again. Sorry.
I don't know. It kept going weird or something.
You're on your phone, huh?
Yeah.
That
Anyways,
happens to me too.
How do I raid people? I want to raid my shit over to you. Is there? Oh, it's okay.
And if you're on YouTube, you just go to customization and then redirect.
I'm so live TV.
Hey, what's up, Naomi? Good to see you. You
can only raid though if you have is your channel monetized and everything, Tyler?
Yeah, you're not monetized. You got to do a ghetto raid. So just throw the link out and tell everybody to click it.
Okay, all right.
Don't worry.
That's why Emmett has to do the ghetto raid. How are you not monetized, Tyler?
I'm going over here for the next 10 minutes. I just moved over to YouTube, so I only have 160 subscribers because I quit Twitch after the whole letting Hassan Piker air fucking Hamas propaganda and Hezbollah videos without any penalty.
Yeah.
You know how pro-Israel I am, so.
I know.
So I switched platforms, started from scratch a few months ago. So I'm trying to build it back up.
Everybody in my chat, if you could go, if you could post